the team that won their division last year, the Oakland A's, it has been a very long season. They are last right now in the division. They are last in the major leagues in wins on the road. They've won only 19 games away from Oakland this season, 19-45. We heard so much last season about ball clubs that finished on the bottom and then turned it over and ended up on top. Well, this is a story for this ball club that's gone the other way. Ricky Henderson, of course, now traded. Jose Canseco, who they didn't have. Pitching that really wasn't there. We'll talk about that as we move along. For Tony La Russa's A's tonight, Scott Heeman, the catcher, leading off. Batting second in center field, Hendu Dave Henderson. Right field, what a slump he is in. Ruben Sierra batting third. Designated hitter. This kid's got good power. Troy Neal will bat cleanup. Second base, he may be there for a while. Brent Gates follows Neal. At first base, the veteran Mike Aldretti. He'll be followed by one of the consistent players of the A's this year, Mike Bordick at shortstop. At third base, Craig Paquette makes the start and bats eighth. And in left field, Scott Brocious batting ninth. Pat Borders getting set to do the job behind the plate tonight for Dave Stewart, who will be starting, and of course some great seasons with the Oakland A's for Stewie.
Really an interesting matchup, Gary, as far as the two veteran pitchers tonight. A couple of guys who have been very successful at times. A couple of guys right now who are battling as far as their stuff, as far as their control is concerned. Dave Stewart is also battling a sore groin. He expects to be full strength tonight. It's his right groin. It gave him a little trouble in his last start. That was against Oakland in the Oakland Coliseum. He only went 3 innings in that ball game, and it bothered him more pitching from the stretch. So we'll have to keep our eye on that tonight. And then you look over on the other side, Ron Darling pitching. Two guys who have been in World Series play, who have pitched tremendous baseball, pitched pressure games, and now they're going up against each other, maybe not with quite the same stuff that they once had.
Dave Stewart on his way out, 154 career wins and 114 losses. He is 1-0 against his former teammates, the Oakland A's, this season, but he has made 3 starts against them. In Oakland on May 29, he got the 5-3 win, his first outing ever against the Oakland A's. And then on June 4, he was non-decisioned in a game that was won by the Toronto Blue Jays. And then, as Tommy said, the last outing he had was at Oakland, non-decisioned in a ball game also won by the Jays. So in all 3 starts that he's made against the Oakland A's, his team, the Toronto Blue Jays, have come out the winners, even though he has picked up only 1 win.
You know, he talked about that start back in May, the first time that he had returned to Oakland pitching against his former teammates, and he said when he went out there and took the mound, it was probably the most nervous he had ever been. And here's a guy who's pitched in World Series games and a lot of big games, but he said he was really taken aback by that start going back to the Oakland Coliseum, a place where he grew up too. Defensively for Cito Gaston and the Blue Jays tonight, we're going to highlight Turner Ward in center field, mainly because Devon White is not playing. The Gold Glove center fielder injured his knee a couple of days ago, sliding into third base in Anaheim against the California Angels. He had hoped to play tonight. Cito Gaston had hoped to have Devon White in the lineup, but the knee still a little sore. He kind of hyperextended it, nothing too serious. So Turner Ward gets the start in center field for Toronto this evening. Everything else for the Blue Jays pretty much the way it's been for the most part lately. Ricky Henderson in left and Joe Carter in right. So Dave Stewart will try to get that forkball working. He's had pretty good stuff. We talked about the injuries the last couple of starts. He had a stretch of 6 games, 6 starts in a row where he won 4 and lost 2 and was throwing the ball extremely well.
Yeah, his numbers actually overall are a little better than the 1-loss record. The opposition's hitting only .252 off him. He's given up 20 home runs, but that's not unusual. Stewie is a distinct fly ball pitcher and gives up a lot of home runs, has in all of his seasons, but that has not deterred him from picking up a lot of wins in his major league career with that 154. Scott Heeman leads it off, the catcher for the Oakland A's. This is only the 2nd time that he has been in the leadoff spot. We were having a little fun before the game trying to figure out who the catchers were who've led off in Major League history. We could think of none who had done it on any kind of a regular basis, but came up with a couple of names of guys who've done it before.
Came up with a few names. You came up with John Stearns. I was thinking of Timmy McCarver. I know at times he hit leadoff when he was back with the Cardinals.
Yep. So Heeman's leading off here. He's not been hot at the plate. Only 3 hits in his last 23 at-bats for Scott Heeman. Generally, of course, catchers are either going to be power hitters or they're going to be guys who strike out a lot, so they don't get in the leadoff spot. Tony La Russa was giving me the what for. He says the only reason I did this tonight was so you'd have to go back and do a lot of research trying to figure out what catchers had ever hit in the leadoff spot. Tony, we got you covered. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, another one who was very successful, so successful that they put him at another position, was Craig Biggio, the Houston Astros.
And probably let off more than any other catcher from as best we could think of it without doing any official research. And that's really dangerous when you rely on your mind at this age. But that's what we did. Dave Stewart with a 1-2 delivery, and the fastball taken inside by Heeman. Heeman, Henderson, and Ruben Sierra for a ball club, as we said, that finished last season first in the division. And whoa, what a difference a year makes. Here are the 2 teams that faced each other in the American League Championship Series last year. This year, Toronto's back in the fight again, obviously, and Oakland at the bottom. Heeman goes down as a strikeout victim, and Stewart starts the game with a K.
We talked about Dave Stewart having consistency with that forkball. I believe it's the forkball that strikes out Scott Heeman. A little dip to it, ball dropped, bottom fell out of it. Heeman couldn't get to it. So a big concern will be that push off of Dave Stewart because of that growing pull. But Tommy Craig, their trainer, said that he should be 100% tonight. Might even go without a wrap.
Obviously, they and we will be keeping an eye on it. One of his favorite teammates right here, Dave Henderson. Of course, they've now had the opportunity to face one another, and Henderson is 3 for 9 in his appearances against former teammate Dave Stewart. This entire Oakland A's team, largely up and down the order, has not been doing much at the plate all season long. The ball club that finished 4th in runs last year is 11th this year, and they are dead last in team batting average. Pretty unbelievable turnaround for a ball club as strong as the Oakland A's were. They've kept the home runs up, but that's not resulted in a lot of runs because they haven't had people on base when they've been hitting the homers. Their on-base percentage has been really bad. See Hindu's numbers over the last 7 games. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Stewart's delivery to him. What was that sinking pitch down and away? 2-2.
Certainly been an interesting season for Tony La Russa, too. He's going through this, having had success over the last few years. He's really tried to maintain some good focus, tell his ball players to go out and do their job. They're important ball games.
Hindu goes the other way with it. That's going to be trouble down the line. Carter over to get it. Dave Henderson makes the turn. He'll stay right there. Carter trying to tease him a little bit about going. Henderson not. And there's the first single. Base hit picked up by Dave Henderson with 1 down in the 1st inning.
I think it was kind of a little tease on both parts. Hindu took off to first base and then pretended as if he were going to go to second base to get Joe Carter to tease him with that throw. Always the showman.
Loves the game. Never not ready to play. He'll be held by John Olerud at first base. And Ruben Sierra stands in. Sierra making the start in right field. You see some very disappointing numbers for Ruben Sierra on this year for the Oakland A's. He has had 2 enormous slumps this season. He's in one right now. He's had 17 hits in his last 97 at-bats. He went through another streak like that earlier in the year where he picked up 16 hits in 100 at-bats. For Ruben Sierra, who's always been noted as a great contact hitter. Fouls that one back upstairs. Strike 2.
Yeah, that is pretty unbelievable because Sierra, even though during his career last 7 years he's averaged 22 home runs, almost 100 RBIs, even though he's produced those power numbers, he's always hit for a good average. I think he's tried to do a little too much being on a ball club that has struggled so much, and he's also this year in a different ballpark.
And his swing has been just awful, Tommy, talking with some of the other ball players and Ruben himself. 0-2 delivery, broken bat, foul ball, and boy, the barrel of that ended back up in the dugout. He didn't have much left in his hand.
Well, whoever coined the phrase getting sawed off saw this swing of Ruben Sierra on this pitch that gets inside. And by looking at where the bat shattered, the ball probably hit an inch or 2 above his hands.
Well, he'll pick up a new piece of lumber and come back in with a count remaining. No balls and 2 strikes. Sierra at .280 lifetime hitter. Played in 27 games with the A's last year after coming over from the Texas Rangers. He's had a couple of seasons, 300, 306 and 89, 307 and 91. So average he's putting up now way below those kind of career numbers that he's had. 1-2 count, one away here in the first. Stewart working to Sierra with Henderson on at first base. First of 3 games between these two teams as Toronto comes off a road trip and the Oakland A's begin one.
Really don't have to pay too much attention to Dave Henderson. At one time, yes, he was a threat. This year, 0 for 3 in stolen bases.
Means before the season's done, he'll be trying for that one. Just give me that one.
Doesn't want to be shut out.
That's right. Sierra's going to back off. Both these teams come in with losing streaks. The Oakland A's have lost 6 in a row. The Toronto Blue Jays have lost 3 in a row. Yet the New York Yankees have not been able to take over first place from them as the Yankees lost to Texas. And their chance yesterday. Pitch misses outside. Yankees have been tied a record number of times now for first place, but have never had it to themselves.
16 times. They've had a share of it. Can't take that extra step.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You figure just the law of averages.
Figure by luck. It's
by luck, at least a day in first place. Stewart with a 2-2 count. Hendo off first base. Gets into that one to right field. It'll stay in the yard. Carter's got it. Dave Henderson back to first. 2 down.
Good pitch by Dave Stewart. We saw him saw off Ruben Sierra when he shattered his bat. He also got that pitch in on him a little bit. You know, not too long ago, about a month or so ago, I was talking to some scouts about Sierra, and Stewart was able to get inside with that pitch because some feel that Sierra has pumped up a little too much weight-wise and upper body-wise that he can't turn on that good fastball inside anymore.
He'll be thinking about everything in the offseason this year. Troy Neal, ground ball to short, played there. Fernandez to Alomar, force play. No runs, a base hit, 1 left on. Dave Stewart gets it done, and the former great with the Oakland A's, Ricky Henderson, will lead it off for Toronto in just a minute. Cito Gaston's team battling for that #1 spot. They thought, everybody thought, long before now they would have run away with it. They haven't and probably can't now. There just aren't enough games left. Playing at home, look at the difference the offense produces. A lot of runs, 5.4 at home. That really helps out that pitching staff. Cito Gaston's lineup for this ball game will have Ricky Henderson leading it off in left field. Roberto Alomar, the second baseman. Switch hitter batting second. Paul Molitor, the best man with runners in scoring position in the game right now. Joe Carter, bat cleanup, right field. He'll be followed by the league's leading hitter, John Olerud at first base. Tony Fernandez, the shortstop, will be followed by the third baseman, Ed Sprague. Pat Borders is doing the catching. Borders will be batting in the #8 spot, and in center field tonight, as Tommy said, Turner Ward.
And there's a look at Ron Darling, the 33-year-old veteran. Talked about how he doesn't have that same velocity that he had when he was with the New York Mets, but still a very smart pitcher. Good forkball, curveball, fastball, but in the low to mid 80s. He has to hit corners to be successful.
So Darling ready to go, and facing Ricky. Henderson against Darling, 2 for 3 with a home run off him. All happening this year after the trade. So this 33-year-old right-hander with 122 career wins will try and exact a little revenge here. Henderson takes the strike in the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Darling with 96 losses on the career, and 7 of them this year. Didn't get started until June because of injuries that kept him out. 1-1 this year against Toronto. And that one is fouled off on the check swing, 1-2. Ricky has continued to put up the home runs in the leadoff spot, of course, which he is justifiably noted for. He has done it 8 times this year, leading off a ball game with a home run. 63 times in his career. One-two delivery to him, bounced, and didn't go all the way to the backstop. Didn't go around on it, or did he foul it off? I'm not sure. They've left the ball 2 strike count up there.
We'll have to get Dan Morrison on the ball,
Yeah.
home plate umpire.
Yeah, I don't know. First I thought Heeman, the catcher, was going to ask the umpire for a check swing call at first base, but he didn't, so he must have fouled it off as he went around on the ball in the dirt. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Infield plays Ricky to pull the ball as they swing around. That one almost swung him around. Off speed pitch at his knees. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tell you one thing, I'm sure Ricky Henderson remembers, the Blue Jay hitters remember. Ricky was with Oakland last year. We've talked about it, but Darling pitched a couple of beautiful games against the Blue Jays last season. Took no hitters into the 6th, 7th inning. Maldonado broke him up. I guess the good news for Darling is that Maldonado's not here.
Yeah. 2-2, and it wasn't. It was 3-2, so that was a ball, the one in the dirt. And that's the walk given up by Darling to Ricky Henderson, leading the ball game off.
Check out the defense for the Oakland Athletics. Scott Brocious in left field. That's important because since Ricky left, left fielders have hit just 161 with 1 home run. And very steady at shortstop, Mike Bordick hasn't made an error in 51 games since the All-Star break.
Well, this is not the way Ron Darling of the A's wanted to start this game. Now you've got Ricky Henderson on at first base. He's ranked right now 5th in stolen bases with 40 on the year. He knows all about Ron Darling's moves, at least from the other side of the uniform. And here's Alomar chopping it towards second base. Gates is going to have to hurry to first and will not get him no throw. Infield single for Roberto Alomar. That's the artificial kind. Ricky ends up at second base. There was no chance there. By the time that ball came down off the carpet,
Actually, it's a very interesting move tonight with Devon White not playing. Roberto Alomar goes back to a more natural number 2 spot in the batting order and promptly picks up that infield base hit that sets the tone for the Blue Jays here early. A lot of fans here in Toronto felt that Devon White should not have been inserted in that number 2 spot, even though he's done a pretty good job. Roberto Alomar, the consummate number 2 hitter.
And here's the consummate number 3 hitter, or 4 or 5 or 6. Paul Molitor, having a career type season, has hit safely in the last 3. And he drills that one. Base hit off the glove of Mike Bordick. It slowed it down. Scott Brocious picks it up. Ricky scores. Over to third, Alomar. 1-0 Jays. Molitor, leading the world in hitting with runners in scoring position, has done it again. 405 in those situations this season, and he adds another couple of points to it.
You know, there were many people that said when Paul Molitor left Milwaukee and was able to play 81 home games on AstroTurf, it would just enhance his ability as a hitter, and it certainly has. This is 95th RBI, gets a pitch up, and with the way he hits the ball, he hits it so sharply, once it gets on the turf, Bordick doesn't have a chance.
Molitor 10th in runs batted in. Now Joe Carter. Off the end of the bat. Runner holds at third. Aldrete plays it to the bag. There's a break for the A's. Carter taken out, first ball hitting. Molitor goes down to second base, but they get the out on Carter, first out of the inning. Roberto Alomar at third and Paul Molitor on at second base. Ricky Henderson has scored against Darling here in this inning. Ricky continues to pile up those numbers as well. As far as runs scored are concerned, he is now tied for 6th in the league with Tony Phillips with 98 runs scored. Now the league's leading hitter, John Olerud. Alomar at third, Paul Molitor at second base, 1 out. Infield very deep at short and second. Bordick and Gates are way back on that demarcation line to the outfield. And Olerud takes it down low, ball 1.
I think this is a situation where Ron Darling, who has enough experience as a pitcher, he's going to try to make the perfect pitch early in the count. If he falls behind, first base is open, and he won't worry about it too much if Olerud walks.
Left-handers hitting .277 off Darling this season, and they have picked up 10 of the 19 home runs that he has given up this year.
I like the way you described John Olerud, though, Gary. You said the league's leading hitter. A lot of people are disappointed because he's no longer around that 400 mark, but he's leading the league in hitting by a good margin.
Isn't that unbelievable perceptions, Tommy? I mean, you look at a guy and people go, gee, that's too bad. 379. I mean, my gosh, that is an unbelievable number. Plus all the other numbers that he's up in the league. On base percentage, he's #1 in that department. He's pushed across the RBIs this season. He's 8th in runs batted in and has flirted with 400 all year. And he's got a chance right here for a couple of RBIs if he can pick up the base hit. Darling way outside to him, and the bases are loaded. So Ron Darling has walked 2 here in the first inning. One of them has already scored. He now loads the bases. It does give him the opportunity to try and get the double play, but it's going to come against Tony Fernandez.
Even though we can't call that an intentional walk, it almost is. And when Tony Fernandez bats after an intentional walk, he's hit .412 with 11 RBIs.
Not a good idea to challenge this man this year, has it been? Now Fernandez this season .294 with runners in scoring position as well, so a very good clutch hitter for them. A chance for a very big inning. Darling, however, looking for the ground ball double play. Not an easy thing to do against Tony Fernandez, however, especially when he's batting from this side. Fernandez, .248 right-handed, .304 left-handed. And Alomar on at third, Molitor on at second. John Olerud at first base. 1 out, 1 run in. Just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think Tony's going through that period. He was telling me he's a little revitalized now. He's getting that second wind. He played 48 games with the Mets before he came to Toronto. He hasn't missed many games with the Blue Jays. He went through that little slow, tired period. Now he's starting to perk up a little.
Feels that postseason coming again. Turned that one over a bit on the split-fingered pitch and missed down low. 2 balls, 1 strike. He's trying to get Fernandez to chase one here to get that ground ball. Paquette has moved in at third base. Even with a bag, rest of the infield's back. Paquette, if he got a ground ball at third, would head to the plate with it. The others will go for the double play the other way. But first, Ron Darling's got to get one in the strike zone. 3 balls, 1 strike. Bases loaded.
That's what makes it tough. Even though Darling is a veteran, he has had control problems. And Tony La Russa probably wasn't all that upset when he saw him walk over, but with the bases loaded, now he has to be perfect.
Fernandez 4 for 13 with the bases loaded, has it here, and he draws the walk. And Darling thought he should have had a couple of those calls. Credit Tony Fernandez with the RBI, his 40th of the year. Roberto Alomar crosses with the Jays' second run. 3 walks in the inning by Darling. The bases remain loaded and still only 1 out. And Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, is at the mound.
This is pretty much a let's calm down, stop the bleeding type meeting that Duncan is going to have on the mound.
Darling has thrown 12 out of the strike zone and only 6 strikes at 18 pitches.
I'll tell you another thing Duncan may have told Ron Darling. La Russa in his head knows that Ed Sprague has hit into 21 double plays. You make a good pitch, you have a chance to get out of this inning allowing just the 2 runs.
Sprague is near the top in the league in that department, and the non-distinctive edge as far as the Jays are concerned hitting into double plays. Darling comes in with a strike to him. Sprague's had only 1 hit in his last 15 at-bats, dropping the average down to 253, but does have 63 runs batted in. Good production for 253 average. 1 down, bases remain loaded. 0-1 the count. Darling inside to him, 1-1. You'll see a lot of that tonight from Darling. As Tommy said, he must finesse hitters, so he's got to gain that inside part of the plate and back hitters off. So oftentimes when the count's a strike or he's ahead on the count, you'll see him come inside and try and get into somebody's kitchen just to back him off a bit. 1-1, Sprague to short. Bordick, second out. Right at him.
A big out for Darling because the ball was hit sharply by Sprague. Good base running. All the runners had to hold. As soon as Bordick caught that line drive, he took a quick peek at second. He took a glance over at Paul Molitor. And a pitch right out over the plate. A good cut by Sprague, but bad placement.
Well, Darling's got a chance to get out of this inning now with 2 down, and if he only gives up 2 runs, it'll be almost success in the inning. Borders 1 for 13 in his career against Ron Darling, has the bases loaded, but now there are 2 down. Everybody infield and outfield backs up. Pat Borders 1 for 7 with the bases loaded this year. Fouls off the inside pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Really does change the tone of the game if Darling were to get out of this inning, and vice versa if the Blue Jays were to get a big hit and add on and make it a big inning.
There you see the big house here at Sky Dome, which is closed tonight to keep the ball players cool and comfy at 68 to 72 degrees, because it might fall to 55 or 60 sometime tonight, so we wouldn't want that. The 1-1 misses down low. Nice stop made. Scott Heeman. That was in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike. Molitor makes his way back to the bag at third. Olerud's on second. Tony Fernandez on first. A's are still a scrapping team, even though they're starting to approach some records for losses in a year. Ball club that takes its history seriously, and there's no intention of being embarrassed here any more than the losses they've already had. They've been in a lot of close games. Darling's in trouble again. 3-1. No place to put him.
This is where, as a hitter, Pat Borders has to just sit on that good fastball, something middle of the plate in, something that he can drive hard.
3-1 pitch, and he walked another in. Paul Molitor is the 3rd run across for the Blue Jays here in the first inning. 2 of them have come via the bases loaded walk. Ouch. Borders 42 runs batted in now.
Well, coming into this game, Darling did not have a good ratio. Strikeouts to walks, had 75 strikeouts, 62 walks. If he continues the way he is, he'll catch up to that 75 in strikeouts.
A real bad first inning for Darling. He's gone through the order. Here is Turner Ward, still bases loaded, 2 down. John Olerud, the lead runner at third base now, and he does get the strike. Fernandez has moved to second, and Borders on at first.
There's a case where a hitter, some people will say, well, he should take because he's so wild, but on the other hand, you know Darling wants to get ahead with a good fastball. So I think that's a good situation to go ahead and hack. Your team has 3 runs early.
Outside corner strike. Little help from Heeman, who framed it and hauled it in. 0-2. Turner Ward has taken advantage of the chances with the bases loaded this year. He's picked up a couple of hits and 5 at-bats when they've been full. Oh, 2 the count. Wouldn't chase. This will drive Tony La Russa and Ron Darling crazy. A veteran coming out and walking in a couple in the first inning really drives you nuts. The rookie sometimes, just because they may be nervous, or a younger pitcher, but a veteran knows what to do in these situations, or at least what has to be done. Now, granted, doing it's another story, but this has been a bad first inning for this veteran. 9th hitter up for the Jays. 1-2. That's going to be a gapper. Right center field, Turner Ward. It'll be cut off by Sierra. 2 runs have scored. 5-0 Jays. Turner Ward, a 2-out bases loaded single. And Darling had gotten ahead on the count.
Pretty soon you put yourself in that situation time after time. You're going to make that mistake. And there was this mistake, the fork ball out over the plate. And Turner Ward was ready for it. That was an important pitch because he didn't want to take the count 2-2. But Ward was ready, and he got himself a hanger.
So they batted around. The man who started this inning with a walk Rickey Henderson, 4 walks in the inning. 3 of them have scored, and Pat Borders is out there in scoring position at third. First and third, 2 down, and Henderson takes the strike. A 5-0 lead.
Well, we mentioned that the Blue Jays have played so well at home. They have guys like Molitor, Robbie Alomar, who have hit better at home.
The 0-1 pitch, and that misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now this season, Blue Jays pitchers have struggled everywhere they've been, but especially they have struggled on the road. Opposition has lit them up, and they're doing it again here. The opposition hitting .297 against Oakland pitching away from Oakland, and the ERA goes from 4.32 at home to 5.81 on the road. That's why they've only won 19 road games this season.
Well, their only starter with a record over 500 is Bob Welch, and he's 9-8.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down, 5 runs in. Borders on at third. Turner Ward on at first. Ward, by the way, up to 24 RBIs for Turner Ward with that 2 RBI single. He's playing in only his 64th game and has less than 150 at-bats. Rickey Henderson takes the strike. So he is gone, but a deadly inning as the Toronto Blue Jays pick up 5 runs on just 3 hits. They leave 2 on.
Gary Miller back in the studio to tell you that Miller Genuine Draft MGD brings you this date in baseball. It happened 19 years ago tonight. Nolan Ryan, the first pitcher ever to hit triple figures in a radar gun. He was supposed to pitch for the Rangers tonight. His bad ribs keep him on the shelf while they take on the Yankees. We'll keep you posted on all the other action going on in the majors. Right now, back to Skydome with Gary and Tom.
Gary, thank you very much. You take a look at Dave Stewart, who finds himself with a 5-run lead as he comes out for the 2nd inning to face Gates, Aldretti, and Bordick.
You know, with the Blue Jays getting off to a quick 5-0 start, it puts a little pressure on the Yankees. They're playing in Texas, so that ball game will start in about 35 minutes. Jimmy Key against Brian Bohannon. But anytime you're in a pennant race, you know the Yankees are going to take a peek at that scoreboard and see that 5 spot up there in the 1st inning for Toronto.
Yeah, not what they had hoped to see, certainly. Young second baseman, 3 hits in his last 23 at-bats, but overall has had a very good season out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. California League last season, finished 6th in the league with a .321 average last year. Attended the University of Minnesota. He's played pro ball for only 3 years now, yet Gates has got the start out there at second base and has an opportunity really to establish himself there and play it for a while. Tony La Russa has made it very clear to Gates and everybody else on this Oakland A's team, don't get comfortable no matter what you've done this year. This ball club's got a lot of restructuring it's going to have to go through. So even the young players know better be ready to go every day. 0-2 right off the fist as Stewart came in. Alomar over to Olerud. Gates is retired. 1 down in the 2nd.
So far, Stewart has shown good velocity. He's been able to get the ball in on, sawed off Ruben Sierra a couple of times. Was able to get Troy Neal on a grounder that he hit off the hands. And just pitched inside right there to Brent Gates. So Stewart has a good fastball working.
1 down, and the base is empty for him as he faces Mike Aldretti, one of the few hot hitters in the lineup right now for the Oakland A's. Aldretti's put some good numbers together. 424 over his last 10 games. 3 homers, 7 RBIs during that streak. He's raised his average from 254 to that current 283 average. Stewart going for the outside corner, missed it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Interesting story. Aldretti, a veteran player, has bounced around from various major league teams, not getting a lot of at-bats. He said the biggest thing that happened to him last year was that he played at the AAA level, played in Colorado Springs, and had 400 or 500 at-bats, and that really helped him for this year.
One of the toughest things in this game is to be sitting on the bench and be called on to do the pinch hitting duties major league level. Ground ball to second again. Alomar. Well, Dave Stewart getting some ground balls here, not noted for that. He's usually up among the top 4 or 5 in the league in fly balls in the course of a year, but ground ball outs here have come his way. 2 down in the second inning, and Mike Bordick. Bordick has generally hit at the top of the order this season. He's been moved down in this ball game and maybe for the remainder of the season because he's one of their most consistent contact hitters. Tony La Russa said, I thought if I moved him down, I might give him a chance to get more RBIs for us. We've not been getting RBIs from people. And I've had Bordick up there at the top of the order. He gets on base, but we need his bat for run production. Here, he's just going to try and get on. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bordick's a little disappointed with his average this year. He hit even 300 last season, but he has, I think, done a solid job, and he's the type of hitter, I don't think you expect the 300 level, expecting that 270, 280 range.
He's been a solid constant for them this season in the infield. Playing at shortstop. Stewart, no walks, a strikeout, 1 hit off him, 2 down here in the second. 5-0 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. And Bordick left center field with that one. Turner Ward, the center fielder's over. And he's got himself an easy inning. Stewart comes back to retire the Oakland A's in order 1, 2, 3. Alomar had the ground balls. He'll be to the plate when we come back. Stands in. Gary Thorne, Tommy Hutton back with you here at Sky Dome. Alomar singled and scored in the first inning off Ron Darling. Let's see if Darling can settle down. He walked 4 in the first inning. Right back to him. Andretti takes the throw and Alomar's out of there.
Well, one thing I know you've seen in the past, Ron Darling is an excellent fielder. He gives you that extra infielder out there.
Gets the first out. Paul Molitor and an RBI single. His first time up. What numbers Paul Molitor is putting up. He's hit safely now in the last 4. 5th time in his career he's had 100+ runs, now up to 105. The Blue Jays record is 111 set by George Bell, so he's got a real shot at overtaking that. It was set in '87. He's been batting .384 in August. Everything he's done this season has been positive. I was kidding him before the game. I asked Molly, I said, all right, give us the secret. Everybody's asking guys who are 90 years old for the secret to longevity. Give us your secret to baseball longevity. He said, boy, I wish I had the answer to that. He said, I'll tell you one thing, though. I'm playing more now than when I was younger, and I think that has made me a better ball player as the seasons have gone along. I feel better. I feel better at the plate, feel better in the field. And as far as my hitting's concerned, Molitor said, I've never felt better at the plate. I don't feel like I've lost anything and have gained confidence over the years. 1 ball, 1 strike on Molitor. Darling inside to him.
Yeah, actually, you think about it, Paul Molitor, when he was in his 20s, his lifetime average and the number of games he played was less than it's been since he's in his 30s. And one of the most surprising stats is you see how his average has gone.
Molitor to left field. Called in by Scott Brocious.
Which I was amazed when I saw is the fact that over the last 3 years, Paul Molitor has played more games than Kirby Puckett.
No one would guess that. No one.
So save that the next time you're having a cold one and you're going through some trivia.
And you're looking for somebody to pay for your beer. 2 down and the base is empty. Joe Carter grounded out his first at bat. Ron Darling now trying to get a 1-2-3 inning after he faced 10 in the first. Carter, 3 hits and 25 at-bats in his career against Darling. 1-0 the count, 2 away. Play Joe Carter to pull, and he certainly does a lot of that.
I guess the most amazing things about the 5 runs the Jays got in the first inning is the fact that in their 3 straight losses in Anaheim to the Angels, they scored a total of 4 runs.
They weren't hitting. Deep to left field. Brocious back at the wall. May have room on the warning track. A line drive out. Carter retired. Ron Darling comes back. 5 runs in the first. 1, 2, 3 third. Well, we mentioned the pennant race is hot and heavy. Toronto still got the lead. Yankees right behind them, and Baltimore won 8 in a row. During that streak, they've gained 4 games on Toronto.
I think you start looking at the scheduling, and it certainly favors Baltimore at this time, even though they're chasing. But the Yankees with 14 road games. The Yankees are in a tough stretch right now. Texas, Kansas City, and then Milwaukee. But Baltimore finishes the season 7 games at home, 3 with the Yankees, the last 4 with the Toronto Blue Jays.
It's hard not to believe that final series won't decide the Eastern Division of the American League. Dave Stewart goes back to work for Toronto as we go to the top half of the third. Craig Paquette, the third baseman. Scott Brocious batting 9th, and then the top of the order, Scott Heeman. Only 1 single thus far off Stewart, who hasn't walked anybody and has struck out 1. Paquette takes the breaking ball down low. 2 balls, no strikes. Baltimore this season, it's been pitching or not. I mean, when they pitch well, they win. They do not have the offense to make up the difference seemingly this season, but right now their pitching has gotten red hot at a most opportune time on a road trip of all things, and they came back undefeated on their last road trip back to Baltimore and have continued to win at home.
Well, they have Messina in gear. Arthur Rhodes has given them some good games.
Strike on the outside corner, taken all the way. 3 balls, 1 strike.
There is Pat Gillick. A lot of people thought that the Blue Jays would get some pitching help. Gillick made a lot of phone calls but came up empty.
Got underneath that 3-1 pitch and popped it up. Shortstop. Tony Fernandez puts that one away. Paquette is retired. 1 down here. Want to remind you, second half of our doubleheader, also a pennant race game, as the Braves will be taking on the Dodgers. You'll see the guy who takes a big bite out of some good pitchers, Fred McGriff, and probably the Rookie of the Year in the National League. Piazza, the catcher for the Dodgers. It's all coming up. Piazza hitting .311. Steve Avery and Pedro Estacio, the scheduled starters. The Braves and Dodgers next on ESPN. Dodgers putting a crimp in the Braves last night in a real good ball game. Strike taken on the outside corner.
You know, Piazza has been tremendous. A couple of rookies with the Florida Marlins, if not for Piazza, might be head and head in that Rookie of the Year. Chuck Carr and Jeff Conine.
Yep. 0-1 count on the number 9 hitter. Off-speed breaking ball. Scott Brocious takes it inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. A 5-0 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. Top of the third inning here at Skydome, which, as we said, is closed for the ball game tonight. Great to have you with us. Up high to him. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Dave Stewart, 18th season in pro baseball, 13th in the big leagues.
Still has the fiery eyes. Center field, late break. Turner Ward. They made that look easy, but it really wasn't. It looked like he may not have seen that right off the bat. Brocious retired. 2 down.
Generally, outfielders pick up the ball very well here in the Skydome, and the fans here in Toronto are so used to seeing that play made easily by Devon White, who's normally out there. Devon White not playing, has a jammed knee, has missed a couple of games, but Turner Ward, normally a right fielder, but can handle center field pretty good. There's the guy who handles it very well.
And lots of it. 2 down, and the base is empty. Scott Heeman, the leadoff batter, struck out his first time up. White out with the injury. Got the little medicine balls in his hand. He's had those now for about 2 hours. That one to center field again. Turner Ward drifting over. And he puts that one away, and that'll do it. So, since the single by Henderson, the second batter up in the game, Dave Stewart's retired all the rest. Olerud coming to the plate. Lead for Toronto over Oakland, and John Olerud will lead it off. Olerud contributed with a walk in that first inning. against Ron Darling, who came back and retired the side in order in the second. Bottom half of the third now. Olerud takes the first pitch for a strike. By month, 450, 348, 427, 389, and paren only closed paren 310 last month. Those are the monthly batting averages of John Olerud.
Well, these fans followed the road trip. John hit just 194 on the road trip the Blue Jays just came off of.
Fouls that off. 2 strikes.
One thing he's able to do and why he's maintained an average where it is the fact that he sprays the ball all over. Look at the average up the middle. Keep in mind we're not factoring in strikeouts, so the averages are high. But up the middle, he's a 500 hitter.
That means you were making some solid contact in stride. 1 ball, 2 strikes on him. Paul Molitor, the veteran, taking a break on the bench. Taps that one towards first base. Darling over to cover. Aldrete the flip. Olerud's 0 for 1. 1 down in the third.
One of the things you didn't see a lot of in John Olerud early in the year when he was on the tear is being out in front of a pitch as much as this one right here. Good pitch by Darling. You give him credit, a veteran pitcher working to Olerud, who is struggling right now. But it was a rarity to see John Olerud even that out front of a pitch early in the year.
Amazing thing to me, though, is his composure through all of this.
It's still the same.
He has not changed 1 iota. Fernandez has got a base hit. Ruben Sierra over to get it. And Tony Fernandez is on. He had an RBI with a bases loaded walk in the first inning. Picks up a single here. And Fernandez, the 1-out single coming in the third. The 4th hit for the Jays off Darling. Darling 35 pitches in the first inning, threw only 8 in the second. Now has given up the 1-out single here in the third, with the Blue Jays leading at 5-zip. Sprague lined out to short. Medium hit line drive at Bordick with the bases loaded in that first inning. Blue Jays here at home this year, 41-28. They won 53 ball games here last year. Sky Dome has been friendly for them. They've used the long ball to great benefit, along with the alleys and the extra base hits.
Tell you another thing they were last year in their World Championship year. They were 21-9 in September and October.
Getting over the knock which had plagued them for a number of years. Right back to Darling. Ow. He's going to make the play. Question is he all right? Down to second base goes Fernandez. That ball shot up on him. I thought he'd got it in somewhere in the face.
It looked like it ricocheted and got him in more than one spot. He was quick enough, and Ron Darling always follows through in a good fielding position. He was quick enough to be able to get the glove there and get a piece of it. There's the glove, but then the ball comes up and caroms and I believe hits him somewhere on the forehead or on the side of the cheek. Look how calm he was. He had enough presence to realize that he'd knocked the ball down. Knew he had time with Sprague running to just reach over calmly and toss him out at first base.
Sign of a smile, so he's going to stay in the game anyway. Those are the numbers for Ron Darling to this point. It has been a mighty tough start. 3 innings here have been an eternity for him already, and then he gets one right off the chops. 2 down. La Russa out to take a look. Down to second base, Fernandez. Sprague retired on the ground ball, and Pat Borders, who had a bases loaded walk, will stand in here with 2 out and a runner on at second base. Darling's been hit hard this year. The averages against him are up there, 284 combined opposition against Darling. Whatever he threw that time, Heeman was not expecting it.
I tell you, it's been a battle for Scott Heeman back there. This time, I think he was crossed up. he started to backhand a ball that he thought was going to be in the dirt, and the ball stayed up on him.
See the movement on that ball back in? And he just picked it up, came right out to the mound.
Let's get together on this next one.
I know you're mad, but don't hit me in the face.
Yeah, just because you got hit in the face.
And Borders, of course, standing there smiling. The opposing catcher has been through a few of those before, just kind of turned around and smiled back at Scott Evans.
He knew exactly what was going on.
Say, hey, that's happened to me. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 down, and on at second base, Tony Fernandez. Not holding the runner. Fouled off way out in front of that pitch. Blue Jays come into this game 4th in runs scored in the league. They've continued to post the great on-base percentage, which is 3rd, and slugging percentage, which is 4th. They've been a good running ball club, 2nd in stolen bases, only to the California Angels. And they don't strike out a lot. Those are big offensive numbers. He went around on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pretty well balanced offensive attack for the Toronto Blue Jays. Like a very well balanced attack. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Borders takes it and he's gone. He knew it. He was looking for an off-speed pitch. Darling crossed him up with a fastball, gets his 2nd strikeout. A runner left on at second base. 5-0 lead here at Sky Dome. Gary Thorne, Tommy Hutton. Great to have you with us. First half of our doubleheader on this Tuesday night. And we want to remind you, college football is coming your way in ESPN Thursday night, 7:40 Eastern, the weekend kickoff show. And that will immediately be followed by Syracuse taking on East Carolina. Orangemen right now ranked 6th in the nation. Syracuse, East Carolina. That's Thursday night right here on ESPN.
That's college football music,
Phil,
too,
the Steins to dear old Maine. Bears win. They won the opener. Go get them. 5-0 lead here. Jays on top. Now let's see whether or not this Oakland offense can give some help to Ron Darling. Fouled off. Ooh, Henderson almost picked off Sierra, who was standing outside the on-deck circle. The only hit in the game off Dave Stewart, picked up by Henderson in the first inning, a 1-out single. Oh yeah, deep to left field, 375 mark, left center field, way back. Goodbye home run. They're on the board. Dave Henderson off Dave Stewart makes it a 5-1 game. And there wasn't any question about that one. Dave Henderson gets his 15th home run and his 41st RBI.
Well, of course, one of the keys for Hindu is to just be healthy. He's had hamstring and knee problems, but look at this pitch out over the plate. We talked about 2 pitchers who allow a lot of fly balls and home runs. Darling has allowed 19. That's number 21 hit this year off Dave Stewart.
So that gives a little light for the Oakland A's offensively. And here's Ruben Sierra. He flied out his first time up. So Henderson has both hits off Stewart, a single and a home run. Stewart had not allowed a base runner after that single in the first inning until Stewart came up against Henderson again here in the 4th. That one hit to right field. Carter. Sierra's flied out twice to Carter, and there are 2 down.
And both times Dave Stewart has been able to get in with a fastball. You know, even though Dave Henderson has been injured a lot, you mentioned number 15 in the home run department. That's number 187 of his career.
He too has been a constant. He's getting back in the lineup for the Oakland A's.
Well, he's got some big hits for them, hasn't he?
Gee. I mean, without him, well, wouldn't even want to think about the season as bad as it's been without Dave Henderson. Troy Neal, the designated hitter, hit into the fielder's choice that ended the first inning. Dave Stewart gets it into him, and that's outside of first base. Played in foul territory by John Olerud.
Talked to Tony La Russa, and you ask him about bright spots this year for his ball club, and Troy Neal's name pops up. So does Brent Gates's. So a couple of guys, they've had an opportunity to see some young players, some young pitchers. Steve Karsay, Todd Van Poppel.
Karsay comes around, and they think Van Poppel's about ready to become a full-fledged major league pitcher. They called up a youngster today, added to the roster, Jimenez, who's pitched very well at the minor league level for them. They think they've got the groundwork of a pretty good young hard-throwing staff. Strikeout. That'll be the second picked up by Stewart as Neal is retired, and there are 2 down here in this 4th inning.
Good live fastball by Dave Stewart, and a good sign for the 36-year-old veteran is that he has not walked a batter to this point. He's had that problem over his last 3 or 4 starts, but he's had good control tonight.
Boy, does that help when you got a 5-1 lead. You can give up the solo home run. That's not going to do a lot of damage, but you walk a couple guys and somebody follows up with extra base hits, then you get yourself in trouble. Base is empty here. Gates grounded out his first time up, takes it down low for a ball.
Yeah, I was talking with a little bit with Gates and with Paul Molitzer. You think of some universities and colleges that are baseball factories. How about the University of Minnesota? You wouldn't think of it, but Gates, Winfield, Steinbeck, Molitor, not too bad.
Very good major league ball players. Alomar hauls it in, the second baseman, so the one-out homer by Dave Henderson, the second hit off Stewart, puts the A's on the board, but Toronto's still up by 4.
It's time to get serious.
Wade Boggs and the Yankees get serious as they face the power-packed Texas Rangers. The pennant chase gets serious tomorrow on ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball.
The Toronto Blue Jays' first game of a 6-game homestand. They'll play host to the California Angels in a 3-game series after this 3-game series against the Oakland A's, and a chance to, as far as they're concerned, hopefully gain some ground.
We talked about what the Blue Jays did last September. They have, you know, people think that they may not have played well over the years in September, but you saw their records. They've played pretty good baseball in the month of September and October.
And tough to carry those kind of numbers over, Tommy, from year to year, because the makeup of a ball club varies so much. Once you get 2 years, in fact, you're talking about entirely different teams. And this ball club, which has won the World Championship, knows how to play in pressure situations. And
I think a lot of that, a lot of the positive to that has to go to the general manager, Pat Gillick. He's been able to bring in people. You look back, Cliff Johnson, Al Oliver, David Cohn, Tom Candiotti, been able to get guys at that waiver period and get them in to help his ball club late in the season.
Turner Ward fouls the pitch off. He delivered a big single, a bases loaded single in the first inning. First inning, Toronto got 5 runs on 3 hits as Ron Darling walked all 4 that he's walked in this game in the first. 2 walks came with the bases loaded to account for a couple of those runs. Ward takes that Scroogey pitch outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Baltimore Orioles are in a rain delay right now as they are playing at home against Seattle. So to the Mariners and Orioles who may be watching, we welcome you aboard and hope you get out there and get the ball game in here in this pennant race. Ball, 2-strike count, 5-1. Jays are leading the A's.
Another one of the outfielders the Blue Jays have there, Rob Butler.
Gates makes the play. Over to Aldretti at first base. 1 down in the 4th inning. Ward retired.
Talked to La Russa about Brent Gates, and he said he's not flashy at second base, but he's been getting the job done defensively, and he hopes he just continues to improve at that position. But offensively, he said he's been tremendous.
And Tony said Paquette over at third base has got a chance for that job too. They like the way he's played. He had a lot of errors at the minor league level, but most of them came from throwing. He's quieted the arm down, made it more consistent, and he can play some third base defensively. Can flash around over there and make some nice stops. So as we said, they've got sort of the nucleus here that they hope is going to come together to make this Oakland A's team competitive again. 1 down, base is empty. Henderson drew a walk in the first inning to start it out, called out on strikes in the first inning. Evens the count up on that swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you know what Oakland has to say to themselves, Gary, is that they've seen teams go from last to first. They know what it's like to go from first to last. They know it can happen quickly.
It's really hard to believe. There's something to be said there that I haven't quite totally figured out, but a team that goes from 96 wins, winning the division by 6 games last year, to something approaching 96 or 97 losses this year. What happened? 1 year. And that is really phenomenal. I think it's even more phenomenal than going from the bottom to the top. You can have a really bad year with some good players who then get it turned around in a year, and you improve and play a little better than maybe the way you should have the year before. But for that drop, Paquette. Henderson's retired. 2 down in the 4th inning.
Tony La Russa was saying that it's such a fine line. He can remember with his club in years past in pennant races what a fine line it is between a victory and a loss, and it goes the other way too. And so he knows that a couple of little things here, a few adjustments there, and they can be right back on top.
Philadelphia A's, the last team with that distinction in 1915 to go from top to bottom. Pennant winner. In this case, of course, it was a division win. 2 down, bases empty. Roberto Alomar singled and scored in the first. 1 for 2 tonight. Robbie takes the pitch inside for a ball. We have in this game, of course, the league's leading hitter in Olerud. Molitor ranked 2nd. Roberto Alomar ranked 5th coming into today's play. Just watch. Right field. Way back. Goodbye. Home run, Roberto.
Well, every time he hits a home run, he just adds on to his career high. That's number 15. And I talked about Alomar being the consummate number 2 hitter, and I've said it for a couple of years that I really think, given the opportunity to hit in the number 3 spot, which he has at times this year with Devon White moving into the number 2 spot, that's ideal for him too, because he's closing in on his career total in RBIs. His career high is 76. That was number 75.
What a consummate all-around ball player, Roberto Alomar. 15th home run. He's now 2 for 3 in the ball game. He scored 2 runs. He gives his ball club a 6-1 lead. He's up there in stolen bases, ranked 4th in stolen bases, 5th in batting average, started the day 10th in runs, 4th in hits. There's not much more you can do except deliver some power like that. Played over off the bag. Nice tag, Aldrete. Mike Aldrete had to come off the bag on Paul Molitor in order to get him after he'd gone by, but he did. That retires Molitor, but the RBI picked up by Alomar on the home run, and that has given the Toronto Blue Jays that 5-run differential back. Toronto has already drawn over 3,450,000, averaging 50,024 here at home, of all ages, from all over, and yet they do not lead the majors in attendance. Can you believe that? Colorado Rockies are going to break all of the Jays attendance figures that have been set. Major league records. Blue Jays have set attendance figures for the last 3 years in total attendance. Foul back here. Dave Stewart back with a 5-run lead to work with. Aldrete, Bordick, and Paquette against him. Top half of the 5th inning. 6-5-0 for the Jays. 1-2-0 for the A's. Dave Henderson, the only Oakland hits, a single and the home run. Stewart, he went around on that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Still has the good fork ball, fastball working for him. That time he fooled Aldrete with the fork ball. But that home run by Roberto Alomar, it just kind of sets a little tone to Oakland, sends them a message. He is able to give them back the 5-run lead they had after Oakland got the run the top half of the inning.
Sort of like saying we're just teasing.
We don't want to give that other team hope. If all of a sudden they peck away, get 1 here, 1 there, then they're back in the ball game.
Toronto had been in a minor home run drought prior to that home run. They had not had a home run in the last 37 innings, and only 5 home runs in their last dozen games. They had been on a tear, 19 home runs over a 10-game streak before that. Well, Lamar gets out of that little funk as far as the home runs are concerned, and there's the first walk given up by Stewart. Aldretti gets it, leading off the 5th inning. I want to remind you, coming up next, second half of our doubleheader, the Braves take on the Dodgers. As the Braves continue their chase, you'll see Steve Avery 15-4 making the start. You'll also see Mike Piazza in that game batting at .311 with 28 home runs. That's coming up as soon as we are done here. Then tomorrow the Yankees take on the Rangers at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. The Yankees very much in it, and the Rangers trying to begrudge them that ground and gain a little on their own. Popped up outside of first base, or take it back behind the plate, actually. Called in by Borders. Bordick's retired. He's 0 for 2, 1 away.
Yeah, it was interesting with his team down by 5 runs. Tony La Russa, unless there was a sign missed, had Mike Aldretti running on that first pitch to Bordick. So either he's just trying to get something going, or Aldretti had a tremendous jump and lead, and Stewart wasn't paying any attention, but Aldretti was going on the pop foul by Bordick.
Here you see the numbers on Dave Stewart: a walk and 2 strikeouts. Stewie going after his 9th win in this ball game. Craig Paquette takes the breaking ball, missed inside with it. Ball 1. 1 down. Runner on at first base. Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, standing. Cito Gaston, Gene Tennis next to him. The monitor that looks into the bullpens. Stewart's 1-0, a towering fly ball to left. If we weren't inside, there'd be a rainmaker. Henderson puts it away. 2 down. Paquette retired.
Something about the inside baseball takes away from some of the terminology we're used to using.
It does, doesn't it? A rafter shot. A beam splitter. I don't know. 2 down. On at first base remains Aldretti, who led the inning off with a walk. Now Scott Brocious. Flied out to center field his first time up. Right off the end of the bat. Talk about a cue shot. Aldretti. Stewart almost ran into him going by. He wanted to get the put out on that one. So the leadoff walk does not hurt Dave Stewart. 1 walk, 1 left on. Carter will be leading it off when we come back. 6-1 lead. The Jays leading the A's as they open up this first of 3. Gary Thorne and Tommy Hutton, first of 2 tonight on ESPN. Dodgers and Braves coming up from Los Angeles as soon as we've completed this one. Joe Carter leads it off against Darling. He has struck out 2 but walked 4, all in the first inning on those walks. Carter's 0 for 2, takes the strike.
It's amazing how Darling has settled in all of a sudden. Since that first inning, he's been getting a lot of first pitch strikes over and getting ahead, and what a world of difference that is.
It's another sign of the veteran pitcher to have a start like that and then come back and settle it in.
Great point. You're exactly right. And it's a good example to some of the young pitchers that are on this staff, watching Ron Darling get through that first inning.
0-2 delivery is bounced. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
One of the disappointments for not only the ball club, the Oakland Athletics, but for La Russa is to have Steinbach out for the year, not being able to work with some of these young pitchers that they have.
Yeah, Terry's as good at that as anybody. Got him to reach for one. Darling won't be able to help himself. Paquette barehanded throw. Didn't get him, but a good play. Craig Paquette, that's all you can do with that. Credit Carter will hustle down the line, gets the infield single.
Well, I've been told Paquette has a cannon, and I have seen it firsthand. I didn't think he had any kind of a play at all. After the bare hand, he got rid of it quickly and had something on it. But the little extra speed of Joe Carter just barely beat that throw. That was a good attempt.
Real good play at third.
McGuire at first base, about 5 inches taller than Aldretti, may have had him.
The big stretch. So the leadoff man's on in the 5th inning. And John Olerud, who has drawn a walk, grounded out, scored a run, goes after the first pitch. They weren't playing him down the left field line. Brocious, a long run, gets there. And in fair territory, sending Carter back to first. So Olerud's retired. 1 away.
Now, you mentioned Olerud going after the first pitch. This year, hitting the first pitch, he's hitting .560. prior to that fly ball out, so that'll drop a little bit.
Good reason to go after the first pitch, would you think?
That's some good aggressive hitting right there. This is good concentration by Scott Brosius. He had a long way to go, and anytime you're on AstroTurf, the head starts to bounce around a little bit more than on natural grass. You really have to keep that concentration and stay on the balls of your feet.
Tony Fernandez contributed with an RBI, bases loaded walk first time up, then picked up a single in the third. Fernandez, the switch hitter, 248 right-handed, 304 left-handed. His 3 long balls this season have been hit from the left side. 1-0 the count. Darling with a runner at first. Change up on the outside corner, a ball and a strike. Check down at third by Fernandez. Nick Lavia, coaching at third base, ran through the signs for him. Paquette, the third baseman, even with a bag at third. 1-1 delivery. Fernandez loops that one left center field. Went longer than Henderson thought it was going to, but he hauls it in. Dave Henderson started in on the ball, and boy, did that carry. Looked like it was going to be a looping line drive, and instead of coming down, it went up. 2 down.
It's one of your thoughts as an outfielder. You think of the hitter who hit the ball, and his first thought, Hindoo's, was this ball isn't going to carry. But if you ever see Tony Fernandez, his upper body's very strong. Tony has some big arms and is able to drive the ball occasionally. That ball carried a little further than Hindoo thought.
That ball really shot out. 2 down. Joe Carter remains at first base. Sprague 0 for 2 tonight. A 6-1 lead for the Blue Jays over the A's. 5 of those runs coming in the first inning. RBIs tonight. Molitor's got 1 on a single. Fernandez a bases loaded walk. Borders a bases loaded walk. And Turner Ward a bases loaded single, driving in 2. The other came on Roberto Alomar's 15th home run in the 4th inning. Dave Henderson has picked up a single and a homer. The only hits for the Oakland A's off Dave Stewart in this game. Strike taken. There's a group here sitting way out in right field, all dressed in red. Now we know who they are. Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. I mention that because you may be hearing, there they are. They are standing there cheering. They've been cheering since they arrived here about 2 hours ago, having a great time. Queen's University in Kingston, all dressed in red. What a time they're having up there, and they've got cheers down. You'll hear them from time to time over the somewhat quiet crowd here at Skydome.
That is no doubt the noisiest section here in the Skydome right now.
They're sure having a heck of a good time, though, I'll tell you that. 2 balls, 1 strike. Runner at first base, left field. It'll stay in the yard for Brosius, who puts it away. Sprague is retired. So the leadoff single by Carter, but he's left stranded. 4 have been left on by Toronto, 2 in scoring position. Back at Skydome, Gary Thorne and Tommy Hutton. Don Mattingly taking that kid's popcorn, and that kid's face when he turned around is still one of the greatest baseball shots I have ever seen. Dave Stewart going to work here. He's got the 6-1 lead. Leadoff batter, the catcher, Scott Heeman, has gone 0 for 3 in this game. All right, now the Oakland A's need some base runners as we go to the 6th inning. Darling settled down with that first inning, very costly. Heeman fouls that one off. 1 ball, 1 strike.
We talked about it earlier. Galen Cisco, the Blue Jays pitching coach, has been keeping a watchful eye on the growing pull of Dave Stewart, but it certainly hasn't seemed to have affected him tonight.
Well, he's rolling along tonight after working gingerly in his last start after he had injured the groin in the start prior to that. 1-1 delivery. Heeman goes after it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the one thing that Cisco and Cito Gaston and his staff hopes for is for a couple of the pitchers, a Dave Stewart, a Todd Stottlemyre, Jack Morris, to take charge over these last 2 or 3 weeks and put in a few solid efforts. They've been very inconsistent. Stewart probably has been the most consistent of those 3 all season.
They are going to need it here in the run, because they have not done what they and what everybody else thought would happen, that sooner or later the Jays would take off and win it by 5, 6, 7 games somewhere along the way.
There was even some speculation in the newspapers up here today about what they thought Cito Gaston should have done with his rotation. We'll talk about that this inning.
3-2 pitch. Heeman pops it up third base side. Borders is called off by Sprague. Puts it away. Leadoff batter retired. 1 down here in the 6th inning. Second half of our doubleheader will be affecting the National League pennant race as the Braves take on the Dodgers. Dodgers have had a winning record at home this season. Proved tough last night against the Braves. Steve Avery will be making the start. Diaz, of course, will be behind the plate for the Dodgers. That's coming up. Second half of our doubleheader tonight. The Braves and the Dodgers. There are the standings in the West, with Atlanta 3.5 behind San Francisco. And the Dodgers playing the role of the spoiler in that race for the moment. 1 down, bases empty. First pitch foul back by Dave Henderson, the only man who's hit Stewart tonight with a home run and a single.
Interesting, all of a sudden the Giants getting help from Solomon Torres, Scott Sanderson, the veteran pitcher, Jim Deshaies. So they're getting help from parts that they didn't expect to here in September. That point about the pitching staff of the Blue Jays, though, they have a lot of off days in September, and people were speculating that maybe Cito Gaston would take a Stewart or a Stottlemyre or a Morris out of the rotation, go with 4 pitchers, because he could do that and they would still be pitching on the 5 days on the 5th day. But Cito is set with his rotation. He'll keep Stewart, Stottlemyre, and Morris in there, along with Henkin and Guzman.
Yeah, their off days are really unusual. They had yesterday off. They've got next Monday off. Henderson, a towering pop-up. It'll be played at short. Tony Fernandez back underneath that one. Yesterday off, next Monday off, next Thursday off, the following Monday after that off, and then they go into the final session with the series against Boston, New York, Milwaukee, and then that 4-game set against Baltimore at Baltimore.
And you saw that number, the ERA, just under 5 for the starting staff of the Toronto Blue Jays.
2 down, bases empty. Sierra's 0 for 2, has flied out twice to right field.
See how Stewart works him so far tonight. He's been able to get him thinking away, but each time he's got him with a fly ball on a fastball that's jammed him inside.
He's a career .318 hitter here at Skydome. Couple of home runs he's hit here. This has been a good ballpark for him. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 down, bases empty, and a 6-1 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. Dave Stewart misses inside, goes behind on the count now. 3 balls and no strikes.
You mentioned it, Gary, about Stewart, even though he had that little run of ground balls, but 11 of the 17 outs now have been either pop flies or fly balls. So he is in that fly ball groove.
That's why he loved pitching and why the ballpark at Oakland was so good to him. Oakland's a very good pitcher's ballpark. It's tough to drive the ball out of there. A lot of room for fly balls. 3-1 is fouled off.
There's another good example of what I mentioned earlier in the game, that some scouts feel that Sierra isn't quite turning on that fastball. There's a 3-1 fastball. If you're a hitter, the last place you want to hit a 3-1 fastball is foul it off the other direction. If you're going to foul that thing off, you're going to be out in front and pulling.
Yep.
He just couldn't get around on that fastball.
Lifts that second base short hop. Nice play made. They get him. Alomar, Gold Glover that time, helping out his pitcher. 1-2-3 inning for Dave Stewart. Remains a 6-1 Blue Jays lead.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.
There's your line. 6-6-0 the Jays. Only a couple of hits. Dave Henderson has them along with a home run for the A's. Ron Darling, the starter for Oakland, has settled in after the first inning. He faces Borders here, followed by Ward and Ricky Henderson at the top of the order. Toronto stranded 4. Only 2 have been left on by Oakland. Darling with 4 walks, 2 strikeouts in this game. Darling has had only 1 win in his last 5 starts, 1-3 in those starts, even though he's had 2 complete games out of those 5. Not a lot of run support for him. Pitch is taken inside. He had been tough against Toronto, allowing only 7 earned runs in the last 34 innings against them coming into tonight, but 5 picked up off him in the first. 2-ball, 1-strike delivery. Off-speed pitch, fouled off, 2-2.
Ron Darling, a guy who was originally drafted by the Texas Rangers. One of those trades organizations look back on. Darling and Walt Terrell traded for Lee Mazzilli.
A couple of pitchers who put up some pretty good numbers. There goes the bat. All the way down to third, fielded cleanly by Paquette. Strikeout taken, as it'll be the first out here. Ron Darling picking up his 3rd K. Borders retired.
I believe that's Steve Carsey, the youngster who was involved in that trade for Ricky Henderson. Carsey will be pitching the 3rd game of this series. It'll be a big night for him, pitching against the organization that brought him up.
Bobby Witt, Juan Guzman scheduled to go tomorrow. Steve Carsey and Jack Morris on Thursday. 1 down, 1-0 count. Turner Ward. Still the big hit in this ball game. His 2 RBI bases loaded single in the first with 2 down. Denied Ron Darling the opportunity to get out of the inning, the first, relatively easily. Ward's base hit, one that really expanded the lead. Turner Ward in for Devon White, out with the injury. Blue Jays trying to get out of their 3-game losing streak right off the fists. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He was the 9th man up in the first inning. He came up with the bases loaded.
He got that little hanging, floating forkball out over the plate. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Devon White is in there most of the time, and Turner Ward was kind of the odd man out when the Blue Jays acquired Ricky Henderson. He went on the disabled list shortly after that. Went on a short game, few games rehabilitation assignment, and then joined the club again on September 1st.
And stands in there now with a 2-2 count. Darling's pitch to him, off-speed delivery. He had the double clutch on that one. That'll end up in the seats. He fooled him, but he was able to fight it off and keep his at-bat alive. 2-2.
Darling's been able to change speeds too. We talked about his adjustment after the first inning, how he's gotten ahead a little bit more, but he's also changed speeds a lot better. Tony La Russa, been that kind of year for Tony. 48 years old, 14th full season as a major league manager. Never managed the last place team.
Grounded. Ooh, what a hop right off the edge of that carpet. Darling will take the flip. Good play by Aldrete. That's right off that carpet lip where the dirt and carpet meet, and that's where that ball hit and almost took a couple of teeth out on him, but he stayed with it. 2 down.
That's great reactions by Aldrete. Never think you're going to get that sure hop, and if you see it come close to that seam on AstroTurf, be alive. Aldrete was alive and reacted extremely well, and then the always quick Ron Darling over there to get the toss.
2 down, bases empty at Sky Dome, and Ricky Henderson stands in. Henderson with a walk in the first inning and scored. Since then 0 for 2. He got a base hit. Brocious, who took his place in left field, will get it back in, and Ricky is on. He has not picked up a lot of hits since coming over. His best series was against his former teammates, the Oakland A's, when they played on the West Coast. Henderson delivers here for Toronto, batting only .209 since joining the Jays.
You know, the thing that he has been able to do, though, Gary, is he stays down on this ball really well. The thing where Ricky gets himself in trouble if he comes up a little as he strides, but he has scored runs. Even though the batting average has been a little over 200 with Toronto, he scored 21 runs with the Blue Jays.
We're looking at that figure. His runs per game is only slightly down when compared what he was scoring in Oakland per game and what he's scoring with the Blue Jays per game.
That's right, 21 runs. This his 26th game with Toronto.
Yep. So very little difference. Ricky on at first base, of course, a threat to go with 2 down here, and Toronto leading at 6-1. Ricky Henderson with 40 stolen bases has been caught only 8 times this season. 7 hits in the game now off Ron Darling. Henderson's got a pretty good lead. Not going, and the ball fouled off by Alomar. The big night for Roberto Alomar, his 15th home run coming in the 4th inning. Single in the first when he scored, 2 for 3 in the ball game. See John Olerud waiting. Paul Molitor is the on deck batter. He's already contributed tonight with an RBI. 2 strike count, 2 down. Darling steps off. Ricky goes back to the bag.
This is where you really expect Ricky to go. 0-2. 2 men out. Take a chance. Try to get in scoring position. Just to add on another run. We're saying again, Oakland could think about a pitch out here too.
Henderson not going. Grounded towards second base. Gates over to get it. Got to hurry. Boy, what an attempt made by Alomar as he dove in with a 6-1 lead. But Gates was able to cut him down. No runs, a base hit, and 1 left on after 6.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Gary Thorne, Tommy Hutton, and the line over 6 as we welcome you to Sky Dome for the first half of our doubleheader. Braves and Dodgers coming up from Dodger Stadium after this one. 6-1 lead for the Jays as we go to the 7th inning. Dave Stewart with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Neal, Gates, and Aldrete. Stewart almost untouchable in this game. He's already beaten his former teammates once in the 3 starts he's had. Toronto's won all of the games he has started against Oakland, and Toronto's 7-2 against the Oakland A's this season. Power hitter takes the pitch down low. Neal 1-1.
Neal has been everything they thought he would be. Last year he was the Pacific Coast League batting champ. Also showed power in that league.
And he's going to get an extra base hit out of this one. Off the 328 mark in the corner. Carter goes over to get it. And down to second base goes Troy Neal. So that's only the 3rd hit and only the 2nd Oakland A to pick up a base hit in this ball game. The double by Neal leading off the 7th inning, his 18th 2-bagger.
Well, that fork ball hangs a little bit. Dave Stewart wanted that pitch down around the ankles, but Neal stayed with it. He got a chance last year after his trial in the Pacific Coast League, leading the league. He came up, had 24 games with Oakland, hit the ball well. They liked what they saw. He's filled that DH role for the most part very well.
Up high by Stewart to Gates. Brent Gates 0 for 2, 3 hits in his last 25 at bats, but good numbers on the season. Big lead will be taken by Neal at second base as the infield stays spread out. Stewart missing up high. 2 balls and no strikes. 7th inning, A's needing some base runners, so Gates is going to take a long look at Stewart's offerings. Only 3 hits off Stewart. Aiming a little bit right now. He misses that one. And the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, again, Galen Cisco with that pitch counter right there will keep track of Stewart, see how that growing is feeling. Remember, he just went 3 innings in his last outing. He had to leave the game early.
strike there. 3-1.
But back in early August, he had put together back-to-back 8-inning games. Beat Minnesota, beat the Red Sox at Fenway Park.
He's looked good here tonight. He may be tiring a bit, but he's still throwing a heck of a ball game. That's only the second walk. And a little bit of trouble for Dave Stewart now in the 7th inning. First 2 are on, and Galen Cisco is standing, the pitching coach. 2 on, nobody out, with Mike Aldrete due up.
You know, and it's certainly been a problem all around baseball, and especially with the Toronto Blue Jays. Where they have really had a problem this year is bridging that gap to Dwayne Ward. Last year, Ward was the bridge, getting it to Tom Henke.
Yeah, middle relief. Oh, to those who have people to throw in, which is one of the reasons I'm so surprised the Red Sox have sort of fallen out of it. I thought they probably had one of the better middle relief bullpens in baseball. But they've not been able to generate any kind of offense, and that pitching staff hasn't held up.
They weren't expecting Roger Clemens to be 2 games under 500 either.
Isn't that the truth? 6-1 lead for Toronto. Stewart struggling here in the 7th inning, has fallen behind 2-0. That'll create the visit from the dugout to Stewart just to find out how he is here, and they don't want to get in any trouble here with a 6-1 differential. They've got room to work with. Nobody's warming up in the bullpen for Toronto.
Well, there's a little activity right now. Somebody is going to start warming up, but as Galen Cisco walked to the mound, no one had begun at that time.
Tommy, you're around this ball club. Tell me what happened to a guy who I thought was going to be all-world, Timlin.
Well, he has the good hard sinker and slider. The problem is the sinker hasn't been sinking a lot. The velocity is still there. Control has been a problem. He went down briefly for an assignment in A-ball and is back with the club now. But he was the pitcher they thought would bridge that gap to Dwayne Ward.
Boy, last year there were games where he was absolutely untouchable. 2-0 count, 2 on, nobody out. Foul back. Stewart gets the strike in on Aldrete. It was 0 for 1 and a walk.
I enjoyed talking to Aldrete today in the clubhouse. Here's a guy I mentioned. He's a veteran. He's been with a lot of different ball clubs. He's happy to be back. It's nice to see a player appreciate his time in the major leagues because he spent a year in the minor leagues last season.
A lot of room down that line, but not enough on this one. Only 1 row back. Sprague gave it a good try and almost came away with a catch. Ended up right there in that first row. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't know if that fan was upset that Sprague didn't catch it or if he didn't catch it. The pitchers, by the way, warming up in the bullpen for Toronto, Al Leiter and Mike Timlin.
Sprague had a very long run. He never had time to get positioned against the seats, so he had to go charging up against the padded siding there. Never had a good chance to make the play. 2 on, nobody out. Neal at second, Gates at first. 2-2 the count on Aldrete. Stewart's delivery to him was whipped foul again, and it remains 2-2. There's the bullpen. Timlin on the left. Stewart's up to 88 pitches. I would suspect that around that 100 mark is where they would really think about making the yank if he's in any trouble. Down low, runners will stay. Borders able to block it, and the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, another reason it's always a thrill for Stewart to pitch against Oakland. Back in May of '86 was when he was released by Philadelphia. It was Tony La Russa who gave him that opportunity. The Oakland Athletics signed him, and then La Russa got him in the rotation.
Big pitch for Stewart. 3-2, runners go. Ground ball off the glove of Fernandez. A run will score. Neal is in. Over to third goes Gates. A big turn by Aldrete. Credit him with the RBI single. And Tony La Russa, right from the start, has had people running when he's had anybody on, which hasn't been often. He does it again there, and it works to his advantage. It is now a 6-2 ball game with 2 on and still nobody out in the 7th inning. Aldretti on the 3-2 pitch comes through for the A's.
That time La Russa just taking advantage, number one, of the fact that Aldretti's a good contact hitter, because he certainly didn't have a lot of speed. Neal has average speed. He was the runner at second base, but they were running and Fernandez wasn't able to get to that. He's gotten to a lot of them though this year for Toronto.
28 RBIs picked up by Mike Aldretti. Now Mike Bordick, who has gone 0 for 2 in this game. Runners on at first and third, and nobody out. Infield, of course, will play for 2 here. Bordick hitting .275 with runners in scoring position this season. One of the higher numbers for the Oakland A's. They have really hurt themselves by not having good clutch hitting. They are last in the league with runners in scoring position, batting .227. Not a good number at all. Stewart has now given up 4 hits. First and third, nobody out. Bordick takes the breaking ball for a strike. 1-1.
Both pitchers should be ready now. Timlin, Al Leiter. You would have to think that Leiter would not see the action. Timlin, the right-hander, with right-handers for the most part coming up.
That one to left field. Coming in on it, Henderson will make the catch. Tagging up. Throw coming by Henderson, and sliding in safe is Brent Gates. And it is a 6-3 ball game. Sacrifice fly will be credited to Bordick. Gets his 24th RBI, his second sacrifice fly. And Greg Kosk at third will probably be asked on the appeal, as Dave Stewart wants his third baseman Ed Sprague to get over there. Stewart's got to step on the rubber, step off, and then throw over to third if he wants to appeal. He steps off, checks the runner. There's the appeal. Home plate umpire made the call, Dan Morrison, because the third base umpire had gone out to play the fly ball.
Good aggressiveness by the A's, though. It's nice to see, because here they are, a team in last place. They've had a tough year. They had the runners going on the base hit by Aldretti. That set up the first and third situation. That allowed the sacrifice fly to be hit, and it wasn't that deep. It was good hard base running by Gates to come in and score.
They're back in it.
Yeah, you like to see that.
It's a 6-3 ball game here in the 7th inning.
You hate to see a ball club roll over the end of the season, but you have the feeling Tony La Russa would never let that happen.
No. If it started, there'd be other people playing. Paquette goes after the high one that Stewart took something off of that time. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 away in the 7th inning. 2 runs in. Aldretti and Bordick have picked up the RBIs. Aldretti remains on at first base. Craig Paquette trying to keep this inning alive. The number 8 hitter. Stewart. Ooh. Nasty movement down and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Stewart knows he has to make some good pitches right here. Paquette's certainly capable. He has 11 home runs. Capable of making this a 1-run game with 1 swing of the bat.
Another problem area for the Oakland offense. They are next to last in strikeouts this season as far as being up the ladder is concerned. And there's another one. Stewart's going to the dugout, but there are only 2 down.
Hang on, Stu.
3 strikeouts for him.
Well, he made some great pitches to Paquette. That ball just dances down out of the way. Stu, you got 1 more left.
Just wanted to change the rules, just checking to see if the umpires were aware of how many outs there were. Scott Brosius butting for the base hit. A foul ball, not by much. Brosius, the number 9 hitter, laying it down as he caught Sprague playing back. And figured Stewart would still be thinking about walking off the mound.
Not a bad try either. Also, knowing that Stewart has had problems with that growing muscle, it certainly hasn't been a problem tonight. But maybe to come off quickly and field a bunt, that could be a problem.
Give it a whirl. Aldretti still on at first base with 2 runs in the 7th, a 6-3 lead for the Jays. Scott Brocious, who's had the 0 for 2 tonight. Infield, swings around, plays him to pull. He does. Down the left field line and deep, but it's going to be a foul ball. 2 strikes on him.
With the number of pitches that Stewart has thrown in this inning, with the 2 runs that Oakland has picked up, I'd be very surprised if he comes out in the 8th inning, if he is able to get out of this one.
He's going to be up around that 100 pitch mark, so that'll be it for Stewart. But great performance. 2 down, 2 strikes. Aldretti off first, and there's the one.
Now he can walk
make
off.
sure. 4 strikeouts for Dave Stewart, 2 of them here in the 7th inning. 2 runs in, a couple of hits, 1 left. 7th inning stretch time here at Sky Dome as the fans settle back in with the Jays leading at 6-3. A chance for them to get out of their 3-game losing streak and a chance to maybe gain some ground on New York and Baltimore, depending on the outcome of their games. Those are the current standings, with Toronto up by a half game. And you'll be seeing the Yankees and the Rangers. Don Mattingly looking for that first playoff game in his illustrious career, and the home run hitter Juan Gonzalez. Yankees and Rangers 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, coming up tomorrow night. We'll continue to follow the pennant races for you. First ball hitting popped up by Molitor to right. Sierra. Molitor's retired. He's 1 for 4 now, and there's 1 away in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Ron Darling has gone the distance for the A's, walking 4, striking out 3, all 4 walks in the first inning. 3 of them scored. 2 by bases loaded walks in that inning. 5 runs, 3 hits in the first.
Who would have thought? You're a guy who has averaged 13 wins over the last 9 seasons. Had some big years with the Mets, 16-6, 15-6, 17-9 one year.
1 first inning you'd like to have back. That's a foul ball, but it's worth watching. In the upper deck, about 10 rows back.
All Ron Darling is saying, that's just a long strike. So look at the first inning and since. Who would have thought he would have still been in this game the way he looked in that first inning?
You settle it in, but the A's offense again has not been able to come through. Where that ball landed.
You know, Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, is sometime during this game has said something to Steve Carsey or Todd Van Poppel, the 2 young pitchers, saying that's what you do in the big leagues. If you struggle, you still stay out there, try to get it together. You might keep yourself in the ball game.
2 ball, 1 strike count on Carter. 100 RBIs or better, 5 consecutive years, and 7 out of 8. He has been the RBI man over the last 8 seasons. Nice catch made by the fan with the glove.
They had him played just right. They're so polite here in Toronto. Everybody let him catch it.
Yeah.
In New York, there'd be about 8 guys in his face.
He'd be dead. And even if he'd got the ball, he wouldn't still have it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carter fouls it off, hit his foot in the batter's box. Remains at 2-2. Bottom of the 7th, 6-3 lead for Toronto. Oakland A's 19 wins on the road. No team has won fewer in the majors. And the big problem for them on the road has not been their offense. It has been their pitching. Nunez in the bullpen for the A's. Down low. A's this season almost the exact same number of runs, 4.43, 4.32 on the home and road, but team ERA 4.25 at home, but 5.81 on the road. Way up there. ERA in road games. Fouled off. helped, of course, as we said earlier, Oakland Coliseum is a pitcher's ballpark, especially fly ball pitchers. Whereas this has been a season where home runs have been flying out of most ballparks around the majors. So their pitching staff has struggled on the road. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Popped him up behind second base. Played by Gates. Carter's retired. 2 down in the Toronto half of the 7th. 2 down, bases empty, and John Olerud coming up.
We're talking with Tony La Russa about Ron Darling. Darling lost game 3 of last year's championship series, but he had pitched well. He pitched all right in that game. Gave up 3 earned runs, 1 unearned run in 6 innings, but had pitched well against the Blue Jays during the season. Tony was hoping he could have gotten to game 7. Darling was his pitcher for that game. He was looking at it that way.
And they felt real confident they'd have gotten to game 7, but they didn't. These 2 teams played in the American League Championship Series, and of course Toronto went on to win it all. John Olerud to center field. A lot of room. 400 back there. And Henderson on the warning track calls it in. So Darling retires the side in order. We've completed 7 here at Sky Dome. 6-3 Jays. First half of our doubleheader from Sky Dome. Gary Thorne, Tommy Hutton, and Dave Stewart doing the number that the Toronto Blue Jays are looking for. If he can pitch like this the rest of the way, it'll be an enormous help.
It sure would, and it's really been fun tonight watching a couple of veteran pitchers. We saw Darling struggle in the first inning. He's put it together. I was really surprised when we saw Stewart come out to start this 8th inning, because with the number of pitches, with the growing problems he's had, surprised to see him out there.
Tommy, one thing he hasn't lost, and that's the fire in the eyes. He's always had the tiger eye. And you can see it in him when he goes out to start a game, and it's still there. He's as fierce a competitor as you want to find, and the years have not dampened any of that. The 36-year-old has walked 2 and struck out 4 in this game. Has given up only 4 hits. Dave Henderson has 2 of those. There's the number of pitches that he's thrown as he's reached the 100 mark.
I even thought it was funny, too, when he started to walk off the mound when he thought it was the 3rd strikeout. He didn't break down. He didn't smile. He kept that death stare going for him. That's the type of concentration he has. He just forgot how many outs there were.
And then didn't want to be embarrassed. So he struck out the next guy, too. Now, with some pitchers who would go into the dugout after a situation like that, a couple of teammates might give him a little what for. Not Dave Stewart.
No,
nobody says a word.
You pick your spot.
That's right. Stewart's working with the 6-3 lead, top half of the 8th inning, and the top of the order.
Now, on the other hand, tomorrow,
yes,
you can go up to Stu, maybe even after the game. You can have a little fun with it.
Scott Heeman takes the strike. He's 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot. Second time the catcher has batted leadoff. He has a great sense of humor. I think he puts a lot of people off because of his baseball face that he puts on when he pitches, but on off days, he's as nice a guy to talk baseball to, or anything else for that matter, as you'll find around the game. Very articulate, very intelligent, holds opinions on a lot of areas, and is really fun to talk to. 2 balls, 1 strike on Heeman, the leadoff batter. Pops that back. There'll be no play. 2-2.
The one area in this is starting to occur to me, seeing the Blue Jays and the problems they've had getting it to Dwayne Ward. You almost wonder if Cito Gaston is saying, I hope I can get 1 more inning out of Dave Stewart. He probably talked to him about it between innings, instead of going to someone who has struggled this year for him in a 6-3 ball game.
2-2 delivery down low. You know, Tommy, that is a managerial decision, which is a tough one, because when you do that, and this is not a negative comment, when you do that, though, you're saying to your middle relievers, I don't have confidence in you. And once you set it, it can go one of 2 ways. Either they say, I'm going to show you, and come back and play real tough and pitch well, or they lose their confidence. Down the third base line, foul. And if you make that decision now, for the rest of the way, you pretty much got to stick with it.
To stay with it.
Yeah. That's what managers get paid for, not just on field decisions, but those kind of people moves to be made over a longer haul. Scott Heeman, 3-2 delivery again, and he draws the walk. That's what they needed. The third given up by Stewart, and 2 of those have been in the last 2 innings. Leadoff man's been on in both of them.
Actually, as you look at Cito Gaston, it's a decision that when you argue National League, American League, DH, you don't have to make that pitching decision. Well, there's a situation in the National League that decision sometimes is made for you because the pitcher has to hit in the inning.
That's right.
So there's one of the little areas you do have to think about it as a manager in the American League.
Yep. Dave Henderson, a couple of hits, including his 15th home run that came in the 4th inning. He singled in the 1st. This game far from over, and nobody knows it better than Dave Stewart. A 3-run lead for the Blue Jays, but the leadoff man's on in the 8th inning. And a towering fly ball to right center field. Carter, the right fielder. Henderson retired, back to first. Scott Heeman, 1 down. And that'll bring up Ruben Sierra as Dave Henderson heads back. Coming up next, Braves take on the Dodgers as the race continues in the National League. The Giants and Braves going at it. Dodgers picked up a win last night's game. You'll see the second game of that series right here on ESPN. 10:30 start time for that one from Dodger Stadium. Sierra's 0 for 3. Runner goes. Huge jump. Foul territory. John Olerud will not have a play. Scott Heeman was down to second base before Dave Stewart had delivered the pitch.
That's another reason Tony La Russa has some runners going tonight, because they've gotten such tremendous jumps.
Should Sierra have taken that pitch and let the runner get to second base?
No, not if it's a pitch he can hit for a home run, because here's one of the guys in your lineup that you want and you expect the long ball from. If he sees the pitch to go long ball on, go ahead and do it, because if he does, it's a 1-run ball game.
Hitting from his better home run side. 11 of his 18 have been hit left-handed this year. Stewart ahead on the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
Stu has yet to complete a game this year either.
And this is his 22nd start of the year. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runner goes again. Sierra deep to left field. He got good wood on that one. Back near the 328 mark. And goodbye, home run. This is now a 1-run ball game as Ruben Sierra delivers an opposite field home run, his 19th of the year. RBIs 84 and 85. Talk about extending the arms.
There you can see the type of power that Sierra has. That pitch out over the plate, he doesn't have to pull a ball to hit a home run. He keeps his hands back and then just gets them completely extended. Remember, Stewart was able to get him out the first 2 times going in with fastballs. That one sailed away, was outside. Sierra just went the other way.
And Dave Stewart will leave, gets a nice hand.
Gary Miller back in the studio as Budweiser takes us to Arlington. A scoreless game between the Rangers and Yanks. Leyritz to the plate for New York with 2 aboard, and he wraps this Brian Bohannon pitch into the gap. That'll double in Velarde and Boggs. So far, Jimmy Key's making it stick as he goes after his 17th win. He has shut out the Rangers through 4. New York coming to bat in the top of the 5th as we go back to Gary and Tommy in Skydo.
And there is Cito Gaston. Tomorrow, you'll see the Yankees and Texas here on ESPN. Our Wednesday night game. Al Leiter is on in relief of Dave Stewart. Bases empty, 1 out.
Generally, Cito Gaston likes to use Leiter to start an inning, but right now, because of the lefty-lefty matchup with Neal, switch hitter Gates, and then Aldretti's a left-hander, he went to Leiter right here.
Leiter facing Troy Neal. 2 runs in on the home run by Ruben Sierra, his 19th. Leiter's numbers taken outside by Neal.
Cito Gaston can't win for losing. He's been raked over the coals here in Toronto for at times going to the bullpen. And the bullpen blowing leads before they get it to Dwayne Ward. Now he leaves.
Could be a tie game deep down the right field line. What a shot. Goodbye, home run. Back-to-back home runs. Troy Neal, who's hitting .333 off left-handers, delivers his third home run against the lefty, and the ball game is even at 6.
And out the door goes a nice performance by Dave Stewart. And off the hook is Ron Darling. So to finish my thoughts, Cito leaves Dave Stewart in. He gives up the home run, the 2-run shot to Sierra. Then he brings in the pitcher and gets the matchup he wants, lefty to lefty, and Neal crosses him up.
17 home runs now for Troy Neal. Al Leiter the victim, and it is a tie game. 6-6 as back-to-back homers, and Ron Darling suddenly sitting on the bench looking, knowing he cannot lose this ball game. Well, this has been a 3-homer game now for the Oakland A's. Dave Henderson's 15th, Ruben Sierra's 19th, and Troy Neal's 17th. Swung on and missed by Gates. Leiter gets the strikeout, 2 down in the 8th inning. May not be smiling on the outside because this game's not over, but he's a whole lot happier when he went in that dugout.
Oh, you bet. Neal got that good fastball. Leiter has a good fastball, but Neal has a quick bat. He was able to turn on it.
Oakland A's were 8th in homers in the league coming into the ball game. With the 3 they've hit, they now have 135 home runs on the season. And while they have the talk here, let's check back in with Gary Miller.
Gary, Budweiser takes us to Comiskey Park, where they're also playing long ball, especially this one by the hit dog. Mo Vaughn against Tim Belcher. Gone, his 23rd of the year. Melvin also hit a 2-run homer, just his 2nd of the season. Remember last night, Rob Deere hit 2 off Jack McDowell. Danny Darwin's leading 4-1 in the 8th. Back to you.
Mo crushed that one as hard as George Bell.
He put on one of the great tackles thus far this football season when he went after Bell, who went after Seeley. Armas is going to come up as the pinch hitter. Mike Aldretti is the man who ends up going back to the bench. Aldretti picked up an RBI single in the 7th inning, which looms a whole lot larger right now than it did then. Henderson the RBI on the homer. Sierra 2 RBIs with his homer. Neal the home run for an RBI. Aldretti and Bordick had RBIs in the 7th inning. So Mike Aldretti will come out of the game, and Armas will come on to pinch hit against the left-hander. Armas has not had a pinch hitting role this season. It's only the 7th game that he has appeared in. So they go to the deep bench with all the call-ups now that extend the depth of that bench, and gets the opportunity here with 2 down and nobody on.
And if that name sounds familiar, of course it is. The brother of Tony Armas, Marcos Armas. Tony Armas had some big years with the Oakland A's.
2 down, bases empty, and a ball 1 count on Armas.
This guy has some power. Had 15 home runs for Tacoma in the Pacific Coast League, playing for Bob Boone, his manager there. All you have to do is look at his size to tell he's a power hitter.
Not hard to believe. Takes the pitch on the outside corner. The Toronto Blue Jays have seen one get away. They had a 6-0 lead in this game before Dave Henderson delivered a home run to get Oakland on the board. Little help right there from Borders, who pulled it in for Leiter. Grounded towards short. Fernandez playing very deep. Makes the throw. Armas is retired, but the Oakland A's have battled back, picking up 3 runs in the 8th to tie this game. The hushed crowd here at Sky Dome seeing the A's come back, 5 runs in the last 2 innings. They've tied it up 6-6. Ron Darling is gone. Want to remind you, coming up next, Braves and Dodgers, second half of our doubleheader from Dodger Stadium. And on in relief, Edwin Nunez.
Nunez, good hard fastball and breaking ball. He's been very busy out of the bullpen for Oakland. However, look at the hits and innings pitched, and the opposition is hitting .310 against the big right-hander.
So Nunez becomes the pitcher of record in this game. Tony Fernandez to second base. Gates to Armas at first. Armas stays in the ball game. Fernandez retired. One down, bottom half of the 8th.
All of a sudden, a couple of solid starting performances by two solid veteran pitchers. The game is in the hands of the bullpen right now.
Dave Stewart, 7 1/3 innings, 5 runs, 5 hits, walked 3 and struck out 4. He gave up 2 home runs. Al Leiter, however, gave up the one that tied the game up to Troy Neal. Ron Darling, 7 innings, 6 runs, 7 hits, walked 4, struck out 3. He gave up the home run to Alomar. Both are non-decision. Ed Sprague, 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 away in the bottom of the 8th. Well, they'll be scoreboard watching. Baltimore and New York. I'm sure they thought earlier. Well, I won't say what they thought, what I think they thought. But I guarantee you their thoughts have changed.
No, they perked up a little bit watching that scoreboard.
Yeah.
After you see a team get out the way the Jays did, the Yankees probably said, hey, all we have to do is just play. Don't worry about that. Now they're thinking about it a little more after seeing the score tied.
Seriously. Outside corner strike. Nunez, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Against Edwin Nunez, left-handers are hitting .282 off him this season, but no home runs. Right-handers off Nunez, .333 with a couple of home runs. Fouls this one off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, it's amazing, Gary, about that scoreboard watching. Believe me, word will get to the dugout somehow, to the Yankees in Texas. Yeah, Sierra and Neal went deep in the 8th.
Everybody will deny it after the game or before. Center field, left center field. That's going to fall in, backed up by Henderson, is going to hold him to a single. Scott Brosius couldn't make the play coming in from left, and a nice play by Dave Henderson. Rather than charging in trying to make the catch himself, he laid back so the ball would not bounce over his head.
Yeah, that's a good point, because once he saw Brosius commit to try to come in and get the ball, then he realized Brosius wasn't going to get there. So he knew if he was too close to his left fielder, he wouldn't be able to make the play. So Dave Henderson, the veteran, backs off, lays behind Brosius, plays it on the high hop, and holds Sprague to a single. Look at Sprague upset. He thinks Brosius is going to catch that ball. Sprague is gone now. The Blue Jays will go for a pinch runner.
Griffin has come on to run at first. Sprague delivers the single, his first hit of the game here in the 8th inning. Potential go-ahead run on at first. Sprague back on the bench. Griffin running. And Pat Borders at the plate takes the strike from Nunez. Borders, an RBI bases loaded walk in the first inning, has struck out twice since. Griffin the pinch runner. Armas holding the bag.
Manager's a little more liberal in making moves with the September call-ups.
Nunez, a long wait, steps off. And Griffin back to the bag. Game is tied at 6-6. Jays have now out-hit the A's 8-6. Bottom of the 8th inning. A big comeback by Oakland. Takes the throw to first. Griffin gets back. 1-1. Nick Lavia, third base coach.
Keep hearing good news about the recovery of Rich Hacker. He was involved in that all-star accident outside his home in St. Louis. We hope Rich is doing well, and from what I understand, he's continuing to make good progress.
And that's good and important news as the team keeps an eye on his recovery.
Somehow I have a feeling he may be tuned into this one right here.
Very well be. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Griffin at first base, the pinch runner. chopper towards third. Paquette with a big arm. He can play down there. He's made a couple of nice plays in this game. He had to short hop that and then get rid of it on the quick chop. 2 down, runner at second base. Gary?
Gary Budweiser takes us to Riverfront. Not much to play for between the Reds and Cards. How about a major league record, though? Todd Burns on the 15th pitcher in this game, the 8th Cardinal. Sanders puts it past Mark Whitten. It'll be a triple, part of a 2-run ninth. They win it 14-13. The 15 pitchers, an all-time record. They overcome a 7-run 8th and win it 14-13. It's first game of a doubleheader. Back to you.
Sure. Of course it's the first game of a doubleheader. The starters have a feeling in game 2 they may have to go a ways. Pitch is taken down low. Potential go-ahead run now is on at second base in this tie game. And Turner Ward, who has taken 0 for 2 in his last 2 at-bats, but had the bases loaded, 2 RBIs in the first inning. He's got a chance for another RBI right here. Griffin off second base. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Love to have seen Joe Nuxall's scorecard in that game.
Probably Nuxie would like to have seen it too. It probably just disappeared underneath all the pencil lead. Full house here. Sky Dome urging Turner Ward on. 225 with runners in scoring position this season for him. Nunez misses. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, you really tell yourself as an infielder right here in this tie ball game, knock the ball down. If anything, even if you can't make the play, get to it, knock it down so Alfredo Griffin, the runner at second, can't score.
Outfield not deep. In fact, they're in a few steps. Turner Ward, strike laid in by Nunez. Again took something off it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 down. Griffin on at second base. Edwin Nunez, last 8 games, has worked 7 innings, allowing 17 hits and 12 runs against the Jays this season. He's had better luck. Gets away off the screen. Griffin, the turn, will stay there just to make it a little more interesting.
The split finger pitch of Nunez really gets away as he uncorks a wild pitch, and a good hard aggressive turn by Griffin. Once that ball skipped off the chest protector of Scott Heeman, Griffin wasn't quite sure exactly where that ball would carry him, so he took a hard turn. Once he saw Heeman get to it, Nunez come in and cover the plate. He got back to third base.
Second wild pitch by Nunez, and you can bet Alfredo Griffin will be thinking about it at third. Count is 3 balls and 2 strikes on Turner Ward. 2 down. Game tied, bottom of the 8th.
Now the infield has to do more than just knock the ball down.
Got to make the play now. Griffin, false start at third, trying to bother Nunez. Is looking right over at him as he goes into the windup. Count remains 3-2 on Turner Ward. As so often happens, Ward, playing because of the injury to Devon White, ends up in the key situation of the moment. Three and 2. Left field. Scott Brocious, and Nunez gets out of the inning. So no runs, a base hit, and a runner left on at third. We remain tied. 9th coming up.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Fresh, pure, natural. Proud to be your Bud.
Gary Thorne, Tommy Hutton back with you at Sky Dome. A 6-6 game going to the 9th inning. Al Leiter's now the pitcher of record for the Toronto Blue Jays. The left-hander gave up the home run to Troy Neal. And the A's here in the 9th inning will have the bottom third. Bordick, Paquette, and Brocious. Mike Bordick's taken an 0 for 2, sacrifice fly, and an RBI for him. The left-hander's delivery is tapped over the mound to short. Fernandez, running throw, just got him. Good play, Tony Fernandez. One down. Gary.
Taking a Camden Yards, we could have our second no-hitter of the week. Arthur Rhodes came into the week with a .640 ERA. Cal Ripken handles Omar Vizquel. Through 6, he's got a no-hitter going. Seattle's also pitching a shutout at the Orioles' 8-game winning streak. Back to you in Skydale.
And we said the Oriole pitching had come around. Certainly has tonight again. One down here, 9th inning. Craig Paquette, first ball hitting to right. Carter.
What you have to tell yourself right now as a Blue Jay is get through this inning. So far, Al Leiter has gotten 2/3 of the way through. The top of the order coming up. And there are those standings that we've been checking on all evening. The Blue Jays, Yankees battling in Texas. Trying to keep pace or maybe take a share of the lead or maybe go ahead.
For the first time this season, if they can do it. Scott Brosius, 2 down, bases empty. Brosius has had an 0 for 3. A record 17 times they have shared, the Yankees have shared first place. A record in the sense they've shared it but never had it to themselves.
Well, how would that be if the Jays were to lose, the Yankees win, they'd be a half game up, and if Baltimore won, they'd be a game out.
Be great. There's a base hit down the left field line. They were guarding the line that time. Big turn made by Brosius. Henderson's throw is not in time. And Brosius delivers a 2-out double here in the 9th inning.
We really have to like what you've seen in the way the Oakland Athletics have played this game tonight. As soon as Brosius hit this ball, knew he got it into the left field corner. Even though he was aware that Rickey Henderson would get over and cut it off, he's also seen Rickey Henderson throw. So he aggressively took a turn, got himself in scoring position with 2 down.
Line was being guarded that time by Griffin, who stayed in for Sprague at third. He had moved over about a step off the line. Otherwise, that ball might have been hit right at him. Leiter now has got to work. Scott Heeman, the leadoff batter. Runner at second, 2 away. Game tied at 6. 7 hits for the A's. And here's Heeman batting in the leadoff spot for just the 2nd time this year and in his career, and gets the RBI chance. He's hit only .220 with runners in scoring position this season. Does supposedly have the advantage here, though, in that he's got the left-hander on the mound against him. Heeman batting .262 off lefties. Timlin has been up in the bullpen a couple of times. He was not going to handle that one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And again, Cito Gaston either showing 2 ways to look at this: confidence in Al Leiter or lack of confidence in Mike Timlin.
And he'll never say which. 1-1, 2 away. The catcher batting leadoff, trying to get the go-ahead RBI. Good pitch, inside corner strike. Heeman thought it was a little high. Turn to Dan Morrison. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There's no question when Al Leiter has his stuff going in control, he can be very dominating. Good hard fastball that's in the mid-90s and a sharp breaking ball.
9th inning, tie game. 1-2 the count, 2 down. 2-2. Left-handers .237 off Leiter this season. The right-handers .258. Not a great deal of difference. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Brosius off second base has a good lead. Strike 3 called. Leiter strikes out Scott Heeman. The Jays will try and win it in the bottom of the 9th. Gary Thorne and Tommy Hutton. 2 home runs in the 8th inning. Ruben Sierra, a 2 RBI, is 19th. Brought them to within 1. Leiter came on to pitch. Troy Neal, the next hitter, drills it. That tied the ball game. His 17th home run. Now we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And wouldn't you know it, Ricky Henderson leads it off against Edwin Nunez on in relief as the Jays try and put this one away in the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Henderson, Alomar, and Paul Molitor due up. Henderson picked up a walk and scored in the first. Singled, was left stranded in the 6th. Check swing, foul ball outside of first.
One area we talked about the runs that Ricky has scored. He scored 21 as a Blue Jay in the 26 games, so that's been up. The on-base percentage has been down. Overall, it's .448, but as a Blue Jay, in the mid-370s. That's all he wants to do right here is get on base, and La Russa wants him to keep him off base.
1-1 delivery. Grounded towards short. Mike Bordick hurries it over in plenty of time, and Nunez gets the big first out. 1 away in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ricky Henderson, the former Oakland A, unable to get on to start the inning here. 1 away. Alomar, he can wrap it up with a swing of the bat. A single, his 15th home run, a solo shot that came in the 4th inning. 2 for 4 in this game. In at third base, Craig Paquette, just in case he tries to lay one down for the base hit. Alomar picking up the home run from the left side. Now has 12 of his 15. Batting left-handed.
Say Nunez has really thrown some good splitters. Has that good arm motion working and has had a lot of Blue Jay hitters fooled.
It's the pitch, Tommy, that's kept him in the game. He had to develop that in order to survive at the major league level.
Yeah, prior to that, everything was hard. Fastball, slider.
Alomar reached for it. Gates over to Armas at first base. Alomar retired. Tony La Russa loves this situation for a lot of different reasons. One, of course, the ball club has made a great comeback, and he wants the players to know they can do that. But he also wants some of these young players. You got Armas over there at first base and Gates playing out at second base. He wants these guys to know what it's like to feel a pennant race, and they do. I mean, they're not in it.
And doing it against the defending world champions. This is a great experience for Oakland.
Paul Molitor. Single and an RBI in the first inning. 4-game hit streak for him. His only hit of the game. Add another one to it. Sierra comes over to cut it off. And Paul Molitor gets a single off Nunez with 2 down in the 9th. So here they come, the middle of the order against Nunez, trying to put the game away in the bottom half of the 9th inning.
And I think what you have to try to do, if you're Paul Molitor, there's one of those splitters that stays up in the middle of the plate. Molitor has been very successful in stealing bases, 20 out of 24. He hasn't attempted a lot, but has a good percentage. If he's going to do it, which he probably is thinking about, he needs to do it early to give Joe Carter an opportunity to drive him in.
2 down, Joe Carter up. He's taking for a strike. Molitor with the 2 hits he's added tonight, leading the league with 182 hits. John Olerud is second in the league. Roberto Alomar is 4th. Joe Carter, of course, his job to bring those people home. He has started the night tied for 4th in RBIs. Thomas, Bell, Cecil, Fielder, Gonzalez, and Carter. Holding Molitor at first base, Edwin Nunez. 0-1 count, 2 away.
Well, since the beginning of '86, Joe has brought home more than anybody.
The RBI man. 0-1 to him. Bounced. Nice stop. Molitor thought about going. Scott Heeman kept the ball in front of him. And that kept Molitor at first base.
Yeah, you try to watch as a runner. Get that lead, get a jump, see how far that ball bounces away from the catcher. First thing Paul Molitor sees is the ball hit at the top of the protector, and then it doesn't bounce away very far from Heeman. He made a nice play to keep it that close to him.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Bottom of the 9th, center field. Dave Henderson puts it away. We're going to go to extra innings. No runs, a base hit, and 1 left on after 9. 6-6.
Budweiser brings us the pennant chase from Arlington. Yankees with a 2-0 lead. 3-0. Danny Tartabull opposite field. His 29th of the year. He had just 4 hits in his last 29 at-bats, but that rope has staked Jimmy Key to a 3-0 lead in the 6th. Let's see how the Jays are doing. Back to Skydome with Gary and Tommy.
And the chance here, if Oakland can get this victory, for the Yankees to move into first place for the first time this season alone. Since July 26th, the Blue Jays have been there either alone or tied.
Something kind of eerie about the fact that Jimmy Key is pitching for the Yankees tonight, too. Mike Timlin now pitching for the Blue Jays. We talked about his inconsistency. You see the high earned run average. He was actually optioned out. But the key for Timlin when he went down and pitched in the Florida State League for Dunedin, the Toronto Blue Jays ball club in Florida, was the fact that in his 9 innings of work in 4 outings, he didn't walk anybody. And that is what impressed them to get him back up here, and hopefully he can be consistent and show those signs of brilliance that he showed last year at times.
We're in extra innings here at Skydome. Toronto 6-1 in extra inning games this season. The Oakland A's 5-9. Top half of the 10th inning. Dave Henderson leads it off right up the middle, and that's the leadoff single in the 10th. Henderson has had a big night. He's not had many of them this season. He's had the home run and 2 singles in 5 at-bats. Now he's the potential go-ahead run here in the 10th with Sierra, Neal, and Gates due up in the order.
That time you can't fault Timlin. He threw a pretty good sinker down and in. You just give credit to a veteran hitter who was looking for a pitch in that area.
And that will bring Cito Gaston out, and Timlin is gone. So he works to only 1 hitter and gives up the single responsible for Dave Henderson on at first. Sierra coming to the plate.
Yeah, Lee Smith isn't going to get any more in the National League either. Castillo brought on to flip-flop to get Ruben Sierra over to the right side. Not a big differential in his batting average. Sierra's righty-lefty, but it sets up a little better double play situation. Pinch runners Kurt Abbott came in to run for Dave Henderson.
Abbott has speed, called up from AAA in the 10th inning. Tie game. Castillo misses. Ball 1. Sierra had his 19th home run in the 8th inning, and he hit that from the left side. His average is a little bit better, batting right-handed, but his home runs have come the other way. 1-0 count. Castillo. Sierra towards second base. Alomar 1 over to Olerud. That's what they wanted. Two down.
Well, you hope for a little advantage when you get that switch hitter to get over to the right side, that it helps a step or two going up the line. Well, Sierra hit that perfect double play ball, a hard shot, and once it got near Alomar, Cito Gaston knew it was going to be 2. Ball almost looks like it's going up the middle, but Alomar was cheating, playing him perfectly. It's amazing how he can dance across the bag and then get something on the throw across his body.
Well, here's the man who fouled up the coverage. Troy Neal delivered his 17th home run in the 8th inning as Leiter, the left-hander, came on to pitch against him. Now Castillo will give it a whirl. Line drive to left field. Right at Henderson. That'll retire Neal. No runs, a base hit. Nobody left on. We've completed 9.5. John Olerud will lead it off. Edwin Nunez, a couple of good innings, 2 hits, 0s the rest of the way as he was in relief. We get our third A's pitcher.
Well, and a veteran pitcher, Rick Honeycutt, who all of a sudden is put together pretty good second half of the season. The win-loss doesn't show, but the earned run average, and talking with Dave Duncan, his pitching coach today, he's told me that Honeycutt has done the job. He's always been tough against lefties, but he's able to move the ball around, turn it over a little bit. He's had success against right-handed hitters too. But a good outing, a couple of innings by Edwin Nunez too, to bridge the gap. A couple of changes as well in the outfield.
Leidy has come on to play in left field. He's one who's just been called up. He'll come on in left. Brocious had been there. Brocious moves to center field in place of Dave Henderson. Abbott had come on as the pinch runner for him. We're talking about these expanded rosters for the final month. Gives the managers the opportunity to make a lot more moves late in a ball game. So that's what's happening here. John Olerud will be leading it off. Olerud's average now at 377, still #1 in the league. Drew a walk and scored in the first inning. Honeycutt on. We're in the bottom half of the 10th. A 6-0 lead for the Jays. Disappearing as the A's came back to get 2 runs in the 7th and 3 runs in the 8th to tie the ball game up. Darling went 7 innings. Nunez 2. Now Honeycutt on. Facing Olerud, Fernandez, and Griffin due up here. And Honeycutt gets it into John Olerud inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Olerud this year has hit .417 against right-handers and a very respectable .288 against lefties. He has a tough lefty right here in Honeycutt.
1 ball, 1 strike. And misses that one down low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Olerud to take whatever here. That means getting the leadoff man on base.
I think one of the areas where you can see that John Olerud has tired somewhat, the extra base hits. He had 17 doubles in June. He had just 4 doubles in August.
Any chance of catching that major league mark of 67 doubles disappeared in the month of August for him. Just missed the inside corner. 3 balls and 1 strike.
2 things always constant with John Olerud. You talked about his demeanor, his attitude, whether he's up or down, and also that batting eye. Very seldom chases anything.
96 walks, 4th best in the league. Ricky Henderson is 2nd with 108. 3-1 delivery. Honeycutt challenged him with that one. Just came in, said, here it is. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Veteran pitcher's not going to surrender that walk here to Olerud. Not willingly, anyway. Bullpens, which had done nothing for the first 7 innings. Smithburg now up. Roger Smithburg for the A's have been active since the 7th. 3-2 delivery. Olerud draws the walk. Number 97 on the year. You see that big bench over there. They'll go to that too.
Well, you got a lot of youngsters who can run, so Cito Gaston will go to Willie Cañate to run for John Olerud, and hopefully he doesn't have to make any more moves. If Cañate scores, he won't have to worry about who plays first base next inning.
John Olerud back to the bench. Cañate on at first base. Nobody out. Tony Fernandez. He's looking for the bunt. Paquette at third has already moved down the line as Tony Fernandez, the switch hitter, moves around to bat right. Nobody out. Bottom half of the 10th inning. Fernandez, 3 sacrifices this season. Batting .248 right-handed, over 300 from the other side. Cañate will hold close as Honeycutt wants to get an idea whether or not Fernandez would show bunt. Toronto a half game up in the Eastern Division of the American League over the Yankees, who are winning their ball game tonight. 3-1 over Texas in the 6th. Fernandez came up on the bat that time, but I'm not sure if that was a intended fake or not.
I've seen players decoy and show bunt when they in fact are not bunting, but I think Fernandez is bunting. The first time he was thinking along with Honeycutt when he tossed over to first, because a lot of veteran pitchers will do that. Second time I think Honeycutt got him and he did show the bunt.
Cañate stepping off the lead. No count yet on Fernandez. He does square. He does drop it, and it's a beauty. Armas goes to Gates. Sacrifice moves the potential winning run. Cañate down to second with 1 out. Second half of our doubleheader. We will be joining that game at Dodger Stadium, the Braves and the Dodgers. Another game affecting another pennant race coming up next here on ESPN. Second half of our doubleheader tonight. Now the opportunity is going to be Alfredo Griffin's. This is going to be his first at bat. He came on as a pinch runner. Congrats to Fernandez for getting the job done.
And rightfully so. Perfect bunt by Tony Fernandez. Cito Gaston has options. Alfredo Griffin is staying in the game to hit. He also has Darnell Coles on the bench available, a right-handed hitter.
Griffin a switch hitter, 136 right-handed, 238 left. Runner at second. Honeycutt foul back by Griffin, and they are holding that runner close. Cañate's in a battle out there right now with both Gates and Bordick, but primarily the second baseman, as Gates is jockeying with him. They don't want to give that base runner any extra step out there, and Honeycutt will keep an eye on him, and Gates almost standing on top of the bag at second.
The Blue Jays could chalk this up to the Latin connection if the hitter Alfredo Griffin can cash this one in, with Cañate pinch running, Fernandez with the sacrifice bunt. Now Alfredo Griffin. There's Darnell Coles ready to go.
There's Honeycutt making sure he doesn't get too far off the bag.
I think the only thinking that Cito Gaston may have in not using Coles is the pitcher Roger Smithburg warming up, but I have a feeling La Russa would stay with the veteran left-hander Rick Honeycutt in this situation.
Griffin's got all of second base to hit through here, if he can put it that way. 0-1 pitch to him. He tried right field. They were playing shallow in any event, and there are two down. And let's check in on that no-hitter, Gary.
Gary Budweiser takes it to Camden Yards. Rhodes had put a man on, but he still had not given up a hit in the seventh. Mike Blowers, though, who has hit some huge home runs this year, gets it over Brady Anderson, a 2-run shot, his 13th of the year. Now the Orioles are coming from behind, and it has now gone to the 8th. Seattle up again. Back to you.
It's not going to be easy for anybody. Teams like Seattle and the A's, chance to do damage. Runner at second base, Cañate, goes back to the bag as Borders is going to be walked intentionally, with Turner Ward on deck, first base open.
Two thoughts right here, Gary. You do this to set up a force, and you're also walking a hitter who has more at bats. Pat Borders has started 114 games. Turner Ward, on the other hand, who's a switch hitter and has been a much better hitter from the right side this year.
Tony La Russa taking a look at the lineup card. Only the runner at second base matters. That's the ball game. We're in the bottom of the 10th inning, game tied at 6. Turner Ward the opportunity. Cañate at second. Pat Borders on at first, and Rick Honeycutt, first inning of relief work, faces Ward, who had the bases loaded single in the first inning.
385 from the right side, below 150 from the left side.
Honeycutt misses up high, ball 1. Runs in the first inning for Toronto. They added another on the home run by Alomar in the fourth and had a 6-0 lead. The game is 6-6 now in the 10th. Missed inside. 2 balls, no strikes. The leadoff batter waiting on deck is none other than Rickey Henderson. $50,515 on hand here at Sky Dome. 3-0. Delivery to Turner Ward. Honeycutt lays it in. 3-1. Toronto trying to win their 42nd game at home, while the Oakland A's trying to win just their 20th road game of the year. Have battled back but are in trouble here in the bottom of the 10th. Timeout asked for by Ward.
With the possibility of a ball 4 loading the bases and bringing Rickey Henderson, Turner Ward has to make sure he gets the perfect pitch if he is swinging on 3-1.
Cañete, the runner at second. Potential winning run. Broken back ground ball to second base. Gates, and Honeycutt works his way out of it as he retires Turner Ward, and we've completed 10 now at Sky Dome, still even at 6.
I used pressure.
Departed our midst here as we go to the 11th inning. And the youngster is going to get a first at bat. Armas will be leading it off, or the Gates will be leading it off, then Armas, and then Bordick. Brent Gates had a walk in the 7th inning and scored one of the 2 runs in that inning. Domingo Martinez is on to play first base as John Olerud's out of the game, having been pinch hit for. So Martinez at first, and Tony Castillo, the left-hander, throws it all the way to the screen. Ball 1.
You know, we talked about the possibility of Cito Gaston using a pinch hitter. Darnell Coles was ready. Here's Domingo Martinez. The Blue Jays have used pinch hitters just 16 times this year.
It's really an incredible number and consistent with what Cito Gaston's always done.
And to make a comparison, the Oakland Athletics have gone to the bench 82 times.
Cito Gaston has never been one. Go very deep on the bench very often. Inside by Castillo, and he's behind on the leadoff batter here in the 11th. 3 balls and no strikes on Gates. Castillo came on after Timlin gave up the leadoff single in the 10th. He got the double play ground ball off Sierra and then retired Neal. He gets the strike. 3-1 on Gates. Good outing by Dave Stewart. Non-decision as the starter. Leiter, the home run that tied the game. Then Mike Timlin faced only 1 batter. Gave up a hit. And Castillo's the 4th pitcher. And it's full. 3-2.
Gates taking all the way even on that 3-1 pitch.
Looking to get that base runner on. Castillo in a hurry. 3-2 delivery. He walked him. So he came back from a 3-0 count and then walks Gates to lead off the 11th inning. That's the first walk by Castillo. And now we'll play that manufacture a run game from the Oakland A's side as Armas will come to the plate. First at bat for Marcos Armas, 24 years old, 5 years of minor league ball before the opportunity to play at the major league level this season. 24 years old. And let's see what he'll do here. Even with a bag, Griffin at third, holding the bag at first, Martinez. He shows bunt on the throw over to first base by Castillo.
Same thing that Honeycutt did when Fernandez was up there. You always look at a young hitter. Armas, just 24 years of age, has been a power hitter in his minor league career. Hit 15 home runs this year. Hit 17 the year before in the minor leagues. So you have to figure he probably hasn't been called upon to sacrifice bunt too often in the minor leagues. Here he is at the big league level, asked to do it in a tie ball game.
In a pennant race. Texas make a comeback in their game. He squares around, takes it up high. 1 ball, no strikes on Armas. Gates at first base. Martinez charging from first on the delivery, and Griffin coming down the line from third.
A lot of signs by Tommy Reynolds, third base coach.
Hoping Armas remembers what they are.
That's the first thing you learn when you join the big club.
Tried to lay it down and fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Another that has joined Tony La Russa's staff is Bob Boone, former major league catcher. Bob manages the Tacoma ball club, AAA ball club of the Oakland A's. It's been a rough year for him. He's had so many players come and go all season. It was hard to get any stability on his team.
Oakland had to dip down often, pull up ball players from that Tacoma team. 1-1 the count. Throw again over to first base. Again, Armas squaring around well in advance. That throw by Castillo is just to hold Gates. Gates walking off the lead against the left-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike. 11th inning. He was going to swing away. Outside corner strike. 1 and 2.
They switched over, thought they'd allow Armas to have a cut, figuring that Tony Castillo, the pitcher, would come with a fastball. He did throw a fastball, but he painted it on the outside corner.
Armas has played in only 6 games, only his 26th at bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Castillo tried it again, went a little further outside that time. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Big hole between short and third as Griffin moves over to guard the line. He's only a step and a half off third base. And of course, Martinez at first base covering the bag, so he's on the line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Outfield straight away and deep. Castillo to Armas. Full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You have to figure the way La Russa has had his runners going on pitches, the way he's played aggressively tonight, that on a 3-2 pitch, even with nobody out, he would send Brent Gates. The only thing he's leaving himself open for, though, he has a young hitter up there who's a free swinger. A strikeout could be deadly for the A's right here.
Could be a double play if he's running. He is. Foul back. Gates will come back to first base, and the count will remain 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, you look at Marcos Armas. He's a lot taller than his brother, but there are some similarities, aren't there?
Certainly in the face.
Yeah.
And in that upper body strength, too. Still resides in Venezuela. 3-2. We'll have to wait.
All Gates has to do, his job here, if he's going on this 3-2 pitch, you don't try to get a great jump as if you're stealing. You just want to be on the move when the pitch is delivered to the plate, and you don't want to get picked off.
Above and beyond all. Don't get picked off. Look at that strike zone. He's got 6'5". Marcos Armas. 200 pounds. 3-2 the count to him. Runner goes. There's the chance for the strike. Throw him out. Thrown into center field. Gates gets up. He's on his way to third. Pat Borders, who had a lot of time and a chance to get Gates way off the mark over Alomar's head into center field, and Gates goes over to third base with 1 out.
While he had the time, he also had the pitch. It was a fastball up and away. He was able to go up after it. Had plenty of time. Gates is even taking a little step back to the bag. Didn't get any kind of a jump at all. A throw even close, and Alomar's probably able to pull it down and put the tag. That's almost like a pitch out. Lots of time, nobody in his way. He just uncorked a wild throw, an error, and Gates goes all the way to third. Stolen base and an error.
That is the 12th error of the season on Pat Borders, who throws him out at a 34% rate. Infield drawn in, and almost a wild pitch.
Thinking
with Mike
squeeze.
Bordick up, they were thinking squeeze, so they had one outside, and it almost got away. 6-6, 11th inning. 1 down. The go-ahead run at third. So the infield has to move in for the play at the plate. And Mike Bordick, 1 RBI and a sac fly. A chance to put the A's up for the first time in the game. Again, a pitch out. Ball 2. The cat and mouse game being played between the two skippers.
You know, I think if La Russa had a different matchup, if he had a right-hander out there facing his hitter, Mike Bordick, the squeeze might be more an option. But I think he feels comfortable with Bordick up there against a lefty.
Bordick hitting .288 off left-handers for the 3rd time. They throw out.
On the other hand, what Cito Gaston is doing right now, he's just going to put Bordick on intensely. He might have done it once, pitched out, but his thought initially may have been to put Bordick on all the way.
With a runner on at third base, this has been one of their best clutch hitters this season. 3-0 count, 1 out, and there it is. So Bordick is on. Runners at first and third, and Cito Gaston is on his way to the mound. 1 out, runners at first and third. 11th inning, game tied at 6. And Craig Paquette, the number 8 hitter, due up. They'll make the pitching change, and Castillo will leave with 1 out.
Interesting, the wheels turning in this maneuver right here. Eichhorn, number 1, holds right-handers to a .214 average. Problem, Craig Paquette, who was to hit, was 1 for 23 against Blue Jay pitching this year. So Tony La Russa's made the move. Paquette, a right-handed hitter. He's brought on a switch hitter, veteran Jerry Brown, to face Eichhorn.
Mark Eichhorn, the 5th pitcher for the Blue Jays. First and third, 1 out. Infield is drawn in. Now backs up. Ooh. Boy, they were not set on that. Roberto Alomar was looking in the dugout asking for instructions while the pitch was being delivered, and he was on his heels when it came to the plate.
And it was a pitch out. They're still thinking squeeze.
Jerry Brown 1 for 10 in his career against Eichhorn. Now the infield in at first and third, halfway short and second. Brown takes the pitch outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Jerry Brown pinch hitting for Paquette, the switch hitter this season. He's had his opportunities as a pinch hitter and gone 0 for 8. A's have never led in this game. 2-0 delivery to Brown. They're going to have one here deep to left center field. That's going to be over everybody's head and over the wall. A ground rule double. It will score Gates, and the A's have taken a 7-6 lead as Brown delivers the pinch hit. An RBI double, his 9th double and 12th run batted in on the season. What a comeback by the Oakland A's.
Just tremendous, and La Russa was able to get that matchup just the way he wanted. He was able to get a lefty hitter up there, a switch hitter Jerry Brown, against the right-hander Eichhorn, who is tough against righties. When Eichhorn gets that ball up, it's very hittable to the lefties. The only good news for the Blue Jays, the ball bounces over, and Bordick isn't able to score from first base.
Scott Brosius takes the pitch inside for a ball. Here's a big chance for the A's. Brosius is up with 2 in scoring position. Bordick on at third and Brown on at second. The infield is drawn in. Outfield straight away, and Eckersley getting ready for the A's. Breaking ball misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes on Brosius. A 6-0 lead.
This would be extremely devastating to the Blue Jays after coming home. A tough 3-game series in Anaheim. They lost all 3 games to the Angels. A day off, come home, they open up a homestand.
That is off the glove. I think that's a fair ball. It is. Rolls into foul territory. 2 runs a score. Down to second base goes Brosius. Alfredo Griffin was guarding the line. He was in fair territory when he touched the ball and knocked it foul. And third base umpire Greg Kosk was standing right behind him and immediately called it a fair ball as it rolled into foul territory. Brosius 2 RBIs as Bordick and Brown score, and it is a 9-6 lead.
It's a real good look right there. There's Alfredo Griffin touching it as the ball was fair. The call made by Koss correct. And that sends even more people out of the Sky Dome.
An amazing comeback off Griffin's glove into foul territory where no one had a chance to make a play. On at second base is Brocious, who's delivered 2 doubles in this game. That one good for a couple of RBIs. He now has 10 runs batted in on the season for Scott Brocious. And it is a 9-6 Oakland lead after the Blue Jays had a 6-0 lead after 4. Inside for a ball, 1 strike, and still just 1 out.
It all goes back to the inability of the Toronto bullpen. Cito Gaston was hoping to get 1 more inning out of Dave Stewart so he could then go to Dwayne Ward. He didn't get it. He had to go to Al Leiter, who allowed the home run to Neal. Timlin pitched to 1 batter, Castillo, and now Eichhorn.
The middle relief again not getting it done. Oakland trying to get out of a 6-game losing streak. They've lost 15 of their last 16. They are dead last in the majors for wins on the road. They only have 19. And tonight they've got a chance to pull an enormous upset against Toronto. Eichhorn misses outside, 3 balls and 1 strike.
And also they've scored 9 runs. Only Kansas City, California, and Boston coming into tonight have scored fewer runs. There's a team that has had trouble scoring, and they've put 9 up there this evening.
And he walked him. So the leadoff batter, Scott Heeman, picks up the walk. And Eichhorn still has but 1 out to work with here. Runners at first and second, 1 away, a 9-6 lead for the A's. And Scott Leidy will get his first at bat. Leidy coming up, batting in the number 2 spot. Standings are going to be affected rather dramatically by the way things are going tonight in the Eastern Division of the American League. Taken inside, ball 1.
Leidy hit .293 at Tacoma, had 9 home runs, 41 RBIs. Braves and Dodgers. Avery, Pedro Estacio pitching for the Dodgers tonight.
1-0 the count, 1 away. Brocious at second, Heeman at first. Leidy the big cut, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Another good opportunity, Gary, as you mentioned, for a young player to jump right in that fire, a pennant race.
Well, they certainly have had an example set tonight. I see what can happen when you stay in a ball game. Leidy fouls that one off.
That's right. The young hitters have certainly learned something watching the offense come back. The young pitchers on the Oakland staff, I'm sure, have learned something watching the way Ron Darling came back after giving up the runs in the first inning. 5 runs.
5 runs, 4 walks in the first inning surrendered by Darling, and it looked like it was going to be a laugher for Toronto. They added to that in the 4th inning. Home run picked up by Alomar, taken inside, and they gained their lead back of 5 runs with that home run. And then Oakland began picking up a couple in the 7th, 3 in the 8th. Now here in the 11th inning, 3 runs have given them a 9-6 lead. Ruben Sierra waiting on deck. Leidy working against Eichhorn. 2 on, 1 out, way outside Eichhorn. That sidearm pitch he's trying to throw on the outside part of the plate against right-handers right now is way off the mark.
Yeah, when he is not getting the ball over the plate, he's easy to pick up, in the ball which he tries to start middle of the plate, catch the outside corner, he misses outside. And even a youngster as Leidy having an easy time picking up that pitch and not going after it.
One down.
And Tommy Reynolds has the pressure on him, the third base coach, trying to make the signs very clear to all these young players.
Brocious at second, Heeman at first. 3-2 the count. Runners not going. Fouled off.
By the way, September is always a good time of year for coaches who are good at picking up signs to maybe pick up the signs, because you have to be a little more explicit with the signs. Maybe give them a little slower, because you have young players who have just learned them and they're trying to get them right. This is always a good time of year for coaches who are good at doing that.
Three-two again. Leidy grounds it outside of third. Foul. Well, he's staying alive here as he battles them off. Leidy's had 78 at-bats for the Oakland A's this season. A home run, 4 RBIs, 192 average. Junior college player, a couple of years out of Arizona. 3-2 the count. Runners again off first and second base. One away. And Leidy going for the hole. Griffin makes the nice stop and can't make the throw. Bases loaded. It'll be an infield single for Leidy. Griffin diving, tried to go to second base to get Heeman on the force, and the ball just rolled right up the fingers. Bases loaded, one away.
One of the areas where the Blue Jays lost when Griffin went into pinch run for Ed Sprague was defensively at third base. Alfredo, for the most part, has been a shortstop and has played some second base. Very little at third. He is quick to get to that ball, but once he tries to transfer and make the throw, he loses it.
Boy, here's a dangerous situation. Ruben Sierra, with the bases loaded, fouls off the first pitch from Eichhorn. Sierra's gone only 1 for 15 with the bases loaded coming into this ball game, but a dangerous hitter, especially turned around the left side. He's had his 19th home run in this game in the 8th inning, accounting for 2 of the RBIs. And with the A's leading 9-6 in the 11th inning, he's got a chance to shoot the barn doors off this game.
Well, you said early it could have been a laugher for the Blue Jays. A big swing here by Ruben. It'll be a laugher the other way.
Ruben Sierra will have to wait. 1 strike count on him. Brocious at third, Scott Heeman at second, and Leidy on at first base. And Eichhorn struggling in relief. Off speed delivery, misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sierra. Braves and Dodgers coming up as soon as we have completed our extra inning ball game here at Skydome. We'll join them at Dodger Stadium and check in on the National League race. Eichhorn with the check, the 1-1. Sierra towards the hole, the other way, base hit. That's going to score 2 runs. Brocious scores. Heeman scores. Put 2 more up. 11-6. An opposite field single and a 4 RBI game for Ruben Sierra. They were not playing him to put the ball there. Fernandez, the shortstop, had moved over towards second base.
This is why over the last 7 years Sierra has averaged almost 100 RBIs, because he will take that pitch the other way. He hasn't done it all that much this year, though, but tonight the opposite field home run, and that ball right there, he just goes the other way with it.
4 RBI ball game for him. And the Oakland A's in the 11th inning have batted around. Troy Neal is the 9th hitter to come up this inning. Runners are on at first and second base now. Leidy has gone to second. Sierra on at first. Still just 1 out. And wouldn't you know it, Texas has taken the lead on the Yankees.
So that will be the 17th time, if things hold up and the Yankees can't come back, that they have failed to take advantage and taken sole possession of first place.
Swung on and missed by Neal. Eichhorn gets the Bronx cheer in Toronto. A 5-run 11th inning. And the Oakland A's have an 11-6 lead. Runners at first and second and 2 down. Brent Gates is the man who started this inning. And Eichhorn is not out of it yet. Missed inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Gates started the inning with a walk. Ended up going to second base and a stolen base, and the throw went to center field, moved over to third, and that was the beginning. They had a strike him out, throw him out double play that could have made a huge difference in this inning. After Gates had reached Armas on a 3-2 pitch, struck out, it looked like Borders had plenty of time to get Gates, who was on the fly at second base, but he threw the ball away. 3-0 count. Runners do not go. Strike taken. 3-1 with 2 down. And derisive cheers arising here in Toronto for Mark Eichhorn. Top of the order will be due up for Toronto in the bottom half of the 11th. Grounded to first base, could be the inning. Martinez gets him. Gates is retired, but a 5-run 11th. Eckersley's coming on. Amazing night in the pennant race. Oakland leading 11-6, and it is not going to be Dennis Eckersley on in relief. Smithburg will get the chance. Rickey Henderson leading it off.
Well, it certainly would have been had it been a save situation, but once it got to be an 11-6 ball game, La Russa went with Roger Smithburg, who originally signed with the San Diego Padres.
Here's yet another pitcher getting an opportunity to work here. Smithburg's delivery to Rickey Henderson, strike on the inside corner. Henderson can't believe it and argues with Dan Morrison about it rather vehemently.
Arguing out of frustration right here for Rickey Henderson. Oh, he's a good shot when we're at the Sky Dome. Certainly had the plate, had enough of the plate. Rickey crowds it so much sometimes he appears to back away from a ball. Looks like it's inside until you see it again.
Roger Smithburg gets the foul. Rickey Henderson walked and scored in the first. Single later in the ball game. Is 1 hit. Braves and Dodgers coming up next. Bottom of the 11th inning here at Sky Dome. And a chance for the Oakland A's to pull an enormous come-from-behind win in extra innings. Rickey Henderson down to third. Brown has come on to play there. Low throw. Gets away. Henderson's on. It'll be an error on the throw as Armas could not come up with it at first base.
Jerry Brown has always been a utility player, but third base is one of the positions kind of like an Alfredo Griffin that he hasn't played a lot. And the long throw across the diamond, he just short hopped Armas. He wasn't able to come up with it.
So Henderson is on in the bottom of the 11th inning. And here is Roberto Alomar. So Smithburg will have to work here with Henderson on. They won't hold him with an 11-6 differential. Alomar takes the strike. His 15th home run came in the 4th inning of this game. Oakland getting 5 runs in the top half of the 11th inning. 3 walks, 2 doubles, 2 singles, and a throwing error by Pat Borders. Contributing to it. There goes Henderson, the throw down into center field. Henderson's on his way to third. Scott Heeman gunning it down. Credit Rickey Henderson with a stolen base and an error And Scott Hemans, the catcher, allows Henderson to move over to third. 41 stolen bases for him now.
It's the type of play that the Jays were hoping to see consistently from Rickey Henderson. So far, as a Toronto Blue Jay, he hasn't done that. He's just trying to create some excitement. When we look at that error by the catcher, Scott Hemans, it was an error by Pat Borders. Not quite the same situation. It really put the Blue Jays in a jam last inning.
Run, at this point at least, not looking that important. But the way this game is going, who knows?
Almost looks like the opposite ends of a teeter-totter. The Blue Jays had their 5 in the first inning. Oakland picked up their 5 in the 11th.
Both teams batted around in each situation, sending 10 men to the plate. 0-2 the count. Smithburg got it in, grounded. Second. Gates makes the play. Run will score. Looks like the Yankees are watching this game. Gary Miller.
Gary, Budweiser takes us back to Arlington. Bob Wickman struggling to get over those 2 runs that they got off him to give up the lead. But Paul O'Neill gets it back. His 17th of the year off Chris Carpenter. It's his first home run in more than a month. It's tied the game with the Yankees still batting in the 8th as we go back to Skydome with the Jays looking for a miracle.
Paul O'Neill just upset that his buddy Jim Courier was ousted today at the U.S. Open. Got mad.
And mad probably about looking at the scoreboard and thinking what they had in hand. And a run in. It's now 11-7. 1 down. Stays alive. Paul Molitor. Molitor has a 3-hit game, leading the league in singles. He's added 3 more to it. 3 singles in this game for Paul Molitor. 3 for 6.
Well, it's amazing watching Paul Molitor. There was a time, because of all his injuries, everybody wondered how many hits he would reach. All of a sudden, there's talk if he stays healthy another 3 years, he will get to that 3,000 plateau.
Smithburg, appearing in just his 3rd major league game, made his debut against Toronto on the first day of this month. Eckersley's again working in the bullpen.
We may see him.
We may. It's getting to that point. It may be a save situation. Only a batter away from that. Joe Carter, his single came in the 5th inning. 1 for 5 in this game. 11-7. A's leading, bottom of the 11th inning. And Smithburg misses up high with it. Runner at first base is Molitor. 1 run in here in the bottom half of the 11th. Roberto Alomar, by the way, credited with that RBI, has had 2 in this game.
And that ties his career high, 76, which he set last year.
Roger Smithburg, welcome to a pennant race. Right-hander behind on the count, 2-0. Fouled off outside of third by Carter. Boy, this has been a dogfight here at Skydome tonight. We had 50,515.
How many do you think now?
4,000, 5,000.
Less than 10.
We've lost about 45,000 people here tonight. 2-1 count. Ground ball. Smithfield over. Just wants the lead runner. Gets him. Molitor goes down to second base, but the Jays are down to their final out in the 11th inning. 2 down. Runner at second base. And Domingo Martinez will be getting his first at bat. He's in John Olerud's spot.
Kind of an interesting story. Domingo Martinez months ago broke camp with the Toronto Blue Jays, made the original roster, and started opening day against Randy Johnson in Seattle. Started for John Olerud. That didn't last very long.
Martinez, diving stop. Gates gets up. This game is over. A tremendous comeback by the Oakland A's, who put a real dent in the pennant chase by the Toronto Blue Jays as they win it with 5 runs in the 11th inning to take an 11-7 win. For Tommy Hutton and all of our crew here at Skydome, this is Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hang on, Steve Physioc, Dave Campbell. Let's join them at Dodger Stadium. A's win it 11-7.